What's up, everybody? This is your host, JP. Before we start this episode, I just wanted to let you guys know that we had some more audio issues. We worked through them. We were able to get most of this episode done without those issues, but hiccups happen. Hey, we're not perfect, but we will learn and do better next time. But with that, here's our full episode. We didn't need to cut it into two parts, so if you guys were anticipating that, don't worry about it. But at the same time, don't still keep those notifications on for future episodes, and hope you guys enjoy this one. What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP. This is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
And welcome back to another episode of the FilmBros podcast. Okay, guys, so we are back to not only bring you guys another review, but we also have a guest in the house. In order to do this review properly, I felt like we needed another person. We needed another guy. And if you guys listen to our episodes throughout the week, you guys heard last week I was kind of letting you guys know he will be back on, but Ray is back with us to discuss what we believe might be the very end of the line of the DCEU. Ray, if you want to say what's up to everybody.
End of the line? That sounds really bad. It sounds a little harsh, but thanks for having me back.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir. You are our first guest, and you decided to come back on, so I'm happy we didn't completely scare you away or, run you off. Since we're our first guest, and we actually have time to sit with you. I mean, before we get into the review, did you like the experience last time? Are you hoping for something different this time? What's your kind of vibe?
No, it was a pretty great experience, and thanks for having me back. I didn't think anybody wanted me back, to be honest.
Wow, man. Apparently you're a real fan favorite out there. I got some people coming back to me and they were like a third person really balanced us out and they liked you. So it's interesting. You're a real fan favorite over here.
Yeah. Yes. So with that, like I said, very harsh take on it, but we are here to review what is the final film, The End of the Line, for what, or at least what we think for the DCEU right now. And Josh, you want to let them know what movie we're reviewing today?
We are reviewing The Flash 2023.
So you're saying you could travel back in time?
But Bruce, I can fix things. I could save people. I could save my mom. I could save your parents.
You could also destroy everything.
Love you, Mom. I love you too. This is mad trippy. Dude, this is catastrophic.
This world must die.
No! I'm not gonna lose her again. It's not Clark.
My name is Kara. I will help you.
Interesting group.
Want some help? Wait, he's Batman?
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Okay, so this is a tall order. This will be a two-parter again. So if
it takes too long, probably a three.
Yeah, if it takes too long, maybe a three-part.
Might take up the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and then.
So you guys might be in for a treat. So future us, make a note of that.
Even future Josh, editor over here.
There you go, number one over here. So I hope you're good, Ray. I hope you're good with a good sit down, a good talk that's about to happen, because we are going to be discussing every aspect of The Flash right now, because I think for this being what we believe to be the final one, we have a couple more movies coming out after this. It is Aquaman 2 and then Blue Beetle, or is it Blue Beetle then Aquaman?
It's Blue Beetle then Aquaman.
Blue Beetle then Aquaman. Like we've said before on a lot of our episodes, it's very wishy-washy right now. He says these movies are within the new cinematic universe, but he said that with The Flash as well, and he kind of backtracked that when the box office numbers came out. And, the box office numbers came out for the first weekend, and it made, domestically, it wound up making about $55 million. Very bad. Oh, no, better than Shazam, barely. barely better than Shazam, but underneath Black Adam.
Mm-hmm.
How much did they spend on the movie? I think I saw like over 200.
So the budget was a lot of people speculated it was about 300 million, but realistically it was about 200 to 220 million
Didn't the
range.
director come out and say it was like one something?
That's what he said, but insider trades say differently. You know, they're gonna try to save face and be like, "Oh yeah, we only got a little bit of money." They'll use it as the scapegoat to be like CGI, whatever. You know, anyway.
Yeah, blame it on the.
So I estimated and I looked into a few spots, and it roughly from 200 to 220 million dollar range, because of reshoots and all that. And then you got to think marketing is about another 70 to 80 million dollars. So that
used it for
and
Super Bowl and everything.
and they used it. They did a lot of marketing for this movie. So I'm assuming rounding up marketing costs and everything, we're looking like about 300 million.
Yeah.
So
This year.
and as of right now, on the second week, had about estimated 71% drop as of right now, as of time of recording. Worldwide, the movie's only made about $176 million and some change. So under budget, way under. This movie should have been the home run hit. You know, Zaslav didn't discard this movie, but discarded Batgirl. I don't know if you knew anything about this, Ray.
No, I didn't.
We got a canceled Batgirl movie out of this, and they decided to save this movie because they thought it was, you know, the best film. You know, it was hyped up as the best comic book movie of the year, the best comic book film, top 10, top 5, top 3.
Wow, they really ruled it out.
So this movie was in the making. So just to let you guys know, it is a flash review. It will be spoilers, tons of spoilers. On top of that, we are gonna go through every single aspect of what happened with this film. And first things first, I just wanted to ask Ray, and we'll pass it on to you as well. DC movies, are you a fan of them?
Yeah, definitely. I liked all the. I like seeing all the all the characters. Black Adam, Shazam, Batman. I think most of the Batmans I've seen.
Yeah,
most of the Batmans. Yeah, so for it, I mean, there's potential for it. I really like the movies, but you know, it's gone downhill.
So out of all DC projects, not necessarily within the DCEU, what is there a favorite DC movie that comes to mind when you think DC? What movie comes to your head?
I mean, Batman has to be the Dark Knight.
What? Christian Bale. Yeah. Okay.
Christian Bale, Batman. But the one I really started loving is Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck's Batman. Okay.
As he should.
Cultured this man. So, Josh, what about you? What was the first DC movie that you've seen, and what's your favorite DC movie? It doesn't have to be in the DCEU.
First DC movie I remember watching like heavily, Superman Returns. That was like the first one. And then
Brandon Ruth.
Yeah.
That's why you got some ties.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. And that's why I kind of enjoy it, as dated as it is now. And then my favorite, Man of Steel. See, I have a clear theme. Superman, definitely. And then, you know, that's where my loyalties lie. But to be known I've been stabbed is kind of, it's kind of like, damn. But, you know, just those. Yeah, clear pattern for sure.
I mean, yeah, Superman seems to be, and so that's why, you know, I got that reaction from you during the Flash movie when that one scene came on, a certain murdering. But like I said, we'll dive into all that. For me, at least, the DC movie that brought me in was, it's kind of weird because it was Constantine with Keanu Reeves. I didn't know it was affiliated with DC or anything like that. I thought it was just a magic movie, and then next thing you know, I got sucked in by Superman. Superman Returns was one of the first Superman movies I watched, and then I went on to Christopher Reeves and all the older shows. I even watched George Reeves' Superman show way back when, because they were on TV at one point. And DC is one of my favorite like brands. You know, I put it at a higher standard than Marvel in my opinion. But I guess my favorite DC movie to date, my favorite one, I know it's kind of controversial, but it has to be The Dark Knight Rises. I love that third chapter finale. Bane, Tom Hardy as Bane.
Tom Hardy as Bane.
Actually was great. I don't flaws and all. I think that was like the movie that put me on. And also because I seen that movie in D-Box and the whole opening sequence in the beginning with the airplane. Yeah, that shit.
Back when it wasn't a total big thing.
Yeah, exactly. It was like up and coming.
Yeah.
Shit. So yeah. So DC has come a long way. So I had asked you as well, Ray. The Flash is. Did you know that the Flash was the last stop within the DCEU? You being part of the general audience, I guess you could say.
Yeah, a little more of the general audience, but actually, no. I thought they would take it somewhere because I've been following so far most of the movies, and I was hoping they would rival pretty much the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, and so I've been keeping up with it. That way, I can go along with everyone.
Yeah. So the DCEU, it is the final stop for the DCEU. We are getting more DC movies that are supposed to rival Marvel, be this own thing. We'll be discussing that later, but that we are gonna. This is supposed to die and be the rebirth to something new, something better. So we think so right now. So we're being told. So I can't really speak on the future, but we can theorize, and we'll probably talk about that
Eventually.
later on within this review. So with that, did you know any of the basically all the backstage drama that led us up to this point? I know you listen to the podcast. I know you probably know a little bit of the tea that would be, speaking on here. Mostly Josh over here shitting on.
Oh yeah, you guys are good with that. You guys are good at keeping up with that.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Before you started listening, do you know anything about it? Do you know where the DCEU started? Do you know anything about like the timelines, all that?
Not exactly, but I because of you guys, I've found out that Gal Gadot is not returning as Wonder Woman, correct?
I don't know if you've been listening to the latest episodes, but that might not be the case anymore.
Things are being looked at, and
we are as confused as you are.
Don't worry. By the end of this episode, you will be at
such like a chaos.
Yes,
foul play.
So much chaos, and that's what keeps us in business right now. I guess that's what keeps us going. So, luckily for you, by the end of all this, you and the listeners will basically be caught up to date, because I am going to basically recap what led us to this point. What led us to basically the Flash and
10 years of drama.
Close to 10 years, almost. Well, within the DCEU, but yeah, Flash wasn't really announced until like 2014. So that kind of makes for a little leeway for the Flash, but not too much for DC. So it all started with Man of Steel, when they decided to hire somebody, a visionary, who can change the way DC was looked at and be able to bring in a cinematic universe, basically to rival Marvel, because Marvel was doing it for about, what, at the time, maybe about 3-4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, 2013.
And DC looked over there and was like, they got something going on over there. They decided to rush everything, hired Walter Hamada to look over the films, hired Zack Snyder to create basically the tone within the universe that is going to carry out throughout this whole time that's going to lead us to a finale, kind of like Thanos.
Yeah.
Man of Steel comes out, mixed reaction. I don't know if you've seen Man of Steel, Ray.
Yeah. Mixed
reaction, tons of fighting, lots of CGI, and neck snapping by the end of the movie. Superman doesn't kill, or whatever. That's what led to BVS. Now, they didn't completely remove Zack Snyder, but they kind of took away some control, saying that, can't be hurting people. They made a big deal about Man of Steel being very unforgiving when it came to the killing, fighting in the city, but, you have the Avengers totaling whole buildings. But yeah. We get to BVS. By then, they say, hey, we need to take a little bit of control over here, the studio, over Zack Snyder's vision. Walter Mata steps in. Now, there's a different story that hasn't been yet told, so I've been hearing, but this is what we know so far. They got in the way. They wound up cutting 30 minutes from the movie because it was unnecessary to the plot, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, they have creative control over Wonder Woman. Zack Snyder steps out of Justice League. They wind up taking control of the Justice League. Came out with this abomination that was the Justice League. I don't know if you wound up seeing that film in theaters or anything.
Justice League, 2017.
2017 Justice League.
I watched it.
Yeah, you watched it in theaters. Did you notice that there was a disconnect? I don't know if you were keeping up with the movies like Man of Steel, BVS, and all that. Did you notice that?
Well, definitely it felt rushed. Like it was just cutting straight into, I guess like it did need, because I also watched the Zack Snyder version.
Yeah.
There was so many scenes that were necessary to explain a little more of what was going on. Everything just felt rushed. Everything that was going on, and they made the Flash look like a little bitch
in the movie.
Yeah.
Sum it up.
Yeah.
So they wound up jacking that whole vision. After that, got a little shaky with certain actors. Ben Affleck didn't want to come back. Henry Cavill was refusing to come back due to image. Superman, when he wanted Superman to be front and center. Walter Hamada didn't want that to happen because he was associated with the neck snapping that happened in Man of Steel, and a lot of people weren't vibing with it. Apparently, I don't know.
I was vibing with it. I mean, it was either that or pretty much it's that thing, either not kill him and let him kill the people. Yeah, it was a tough decision. Yeah, I mean, I think it was necessary, but in the end, it needed to be done.
You guys heard it here first.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
It was just like he understood the vision. I can't keep having this conversation.
I can't believe people didn't like. I mean, obviously, killing a superhero killing. Nobody wants to see that, but
I mean, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you're left with no other choice.
I mean, I seen Iron Man completely obliterate somebody in the first movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's okay, they were terrorists.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. So that's what led to a slew of other movies. We had Wonder Woman 84, Suicide Squad, which was also a botched mess. We had Birds of Prey. All movies started flopping, started dipping in numbers until The Rock came into the vision and basically tried to single-handedly revive DC. Black Adam was his mothership that he was trying to, get Henry Cavill back, hopefully bring DC back up. And that was during the acquisition, so it was basically an all-man fight for who was going to own DC and who was going to be the head honcho within DC.
Yeah.
Zaslav wound up pulling a fast one, saw numbers weren't adding up with Black Adam, and wound up giving it to James Gunn. Black Adam wound up sinking because, well, they wanted everybody to come sit down for Henry Cavill, but Henry Cavill was only there for 10 seconds, so that was kind of weird kind of marketing, but, if who knows what would have happened if The Rock would have kept going. But next thing you know, we're led here where James Gunn is in charge. We had The Flash, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and Black Adam under his watch, basically being released. He had to make up a way to end the DCEU without giving any leads or any lingering things to the old DCEU. And so now, at this point, with the numbers that happened with The Flash, it shows a disinterest within DC, in my opinion. Josh, you had the hype going for the longest time. Hey, people, listen to the podcast. You guys heard how I broke his spirit down with every
boy can dream.
Yeah,
Exactly.
A boy can dream.
He could dream, but
It was crushing.
it turns into a nightmare sometimes.
It's funny because you guys can go back and listen. I think it's around January when the first trailer dropped, or February when the first trailer dropped. It started up high, and then as episodes went through till we got closer to its release, there's a shift in my emotions where I'm just like, this isn't gonna be everything I thought it was, and then here we are, where I can unload fully.
Yeah. So your hype changed, but you knew what was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And even though you knew what was happening behind the scenes, you were still able to keep that optimism, and you were chilling.
Yes.
Me, on the other hand, I was very optimistic, or not optimistic, very skeptical of the Flash. And that's only because I know about behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Ray, like I said, you're a general audience point of view, so I don't have to keep pointing it out. But were you hyped for the Flash? Were you not hyped for the Flash? What was your kind of like level when you walked into that movie?
I actually was hyped. I was like, oh, a Flash movie. I'm willing to watch it, and I did go watch it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did kind of stay away from all the leaks and everything. That way, I can go straight into it without any opinion on it.
What do you call it? Have you ever seen the CW Flash show? Did you see that?
No, not much of it.
No?
Not much of it.
I was just curious. I know
I know the
90s one?
The 90s one? No.
I was just curious because the 90s Flash actor was in the CW one as Jay Garrick, and then I was just curious about if you've known like anything outside of this movie, but okay.
Yeah, I think that's why I was more excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Josh just slowly start falling into a state of depression. I was like, wow, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah.
I gotta see it. I gotta see what's going on.
Man got low.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, and let's say as well, because another thing that was going against it, not just the drama behind the scenes, but the drama that was happening with the actor himself, Ezra Miller, was that. Did you know about that? Was that an issue when you walked into the movie at all, Ray?
I did hear about it from you guys, and it pretty much dropped my expectations of expecting another movie because as I'm not right now with cancel culture and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I was expecting what, this thing is gonna tank.
But that's different because I feel like a lot of people were saying that he was getting a pass, like people were giving him a pass.
People.
It's
the tough thing though because people want to say that, but at the same time, they're all allegations and what he's been charged with. And they've kind of been keeping him on the hush hush up until that red carpet premiere. When everyone was like, "Oh, why isn't he behind bars?" and this and that. Like, a lot of people don't know how allegations work and all that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he's rumored and he has these allegations. A lot of them have been debunked. People have found out that false police reports were reported or whatever, and that it was actually one of Ezra's close friends that he quote unquote betrayed that was behind it all. All those kind of things that kind of were coming to light. But a lot of people will see, like, this is just digital literacy at its finest, but a lot of people will see, oh, actor so-and-so does so-and-so, and then immediately they're like, without doing more research, they're like, really? He did this? You know what I mean? And now it's painted a dark picture.
Yeah.
It's a lot of how public opinion works. Some people just don't go further than the article that they saw,
Yeah.
Especially when we've seen it before. Most articles are highlighted to, bring in readers, so it's very weird how the media manipulates.
So for you, it didn't bother you with Ezra Miller? No. Me neither. Because I'm one of those people too, innocent until proven guilty, and nobody has convicted him or proven him guilty. He is currently charged with two misdemeanors. I think one's a felony,
One's breaking and entering, and I forget the other one.
Yeah. So I mean, I give him the benefit of the doubt until we figure out, you know what I mean? Until we figure out he's absolutely guilty.
Exactly.
And then you won't even hear conspiracy theories out of me. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, that boy's guilty. He's guilty. If the court says so, so that never ruined your hype at all, Ray? Just
mine, not that much.
No.
Well,
you didn't worry about it. You were just like
a little bit, mainly expecting a following movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was probably gonna be a while before we saw something.
Yeah, so we're not going to see another Flash sequel, likely. You're just like walking in like, this is going to be the one and done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. So with that, it's weird that we're getting this kind of money back. Like I said, 176 million right now as the time of recording this. Hasn't even broken even yet. Not even close to breaking even, which is crazy. That's a mean old flop. But on Rotten Tomatoes, it got 66% just regular, fresh, I assume, and an 84% audience score. Josh, do you agree with this? Do you think that this is fair?
What's the audience score? Sorry.
An 84%. You can't see that, man. You blind?
Yeah, you know I am.
Yeah.
Well, the tomato score makes sense. I understand. Anything higher from them I would have been like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Give him a bombastic side eye.
Yeah, but audience score, I guess I can take that. I can leave it at that. Also, some people may be blind, but
We just established you are as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Ray? What do you agree with this kind of scoring? Watching the movie?
Yeah, I agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain level of entertainment from the movie. Just everything that was going on. I think it played a little bit on the nostalgia factor with Michael Keaton in it, and it seems about right to me.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes, sir. So we have director Andy Muschietti coming off of the It Part 1, It Part 2.
Yeah.
Following his buddy Walter Hamada, because Walter Hamada had a thing for horror directors. James Wan wound up making the $1 billion hit Aquaman. He wound up David F. Sandberg, Shazam 1 and 2. He wound up making the Annabelle movie. Andy Muschietti wound up making the It movies over there at Warner Brothers, so he got a shot at The Flash for whatever reason. Be like, just because you make a horror movie don't mean you can make a superhero movie, but it is what it is. Sam Raimi is the only one who I feel can successfully do that, but hey, it is what it is. Ezra Miller is Barry Allen. Michael Keaton comes back as Bruce Wayne. Cara Zor-El as Sasha Calle. Henry Allen as Ron Livingston as Henry Allen, which is Barry's dad. Maribel Verdú as Nora Allen. Jeremy Irons made an appearance as Alfred. Ben Affleck is not credited still at all on IMDb or on the credits, which is
That's weird.
insane. Yeah, I don't know if that's because of the little bit of tea. If you haven't heard, but
Spill it.
Ben Affleck basically had a meeting with James Gunn. And after that meeting, James Gunn basically went on Twitter and was like, oh yeah, we're talking about things that we can, work together on, and he can direct one of these days, and he's excited and doesn't want to do anything else but direct a DC film. And then Ben Affleck comes out on Variety with a quote saying that he would never do he absolutely not ever do any DC project under James Gunn at all. And after that,
I remember that.
now we don't have a credit within the Flash film, even though he was in there for like the opening sequence.
Yeah, he was for about the good first 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, so that's a little weird, but I don't know. That you never heard about that at all?
No, I didn't.
No, okay.
But I mean, even though it's still wrong for not including it in the.
Give credit. I mean, Gal Gadot on there.
Gal Gadot. Let me see.
Gal Gadot, or
I mean, there could be some probably legal action for that.
No, Tamara Morrison. I don't see it. Gal Gadot.
they put on Tamora Morrison
Yeah, he's there.
for as little as his role is.
Yeah,
That is some shit, bro. He was in there for not even 2 minutes, bro. There's no way. Disrespectful.
yeah. I don't even see Gal Gadot either. Looking.
Disrespectful.
No, she's not there.
Disrespectful.
Oh, there's Ben Affleck. Oh, rest of the cast listed alphabetically. So he's not. Oh, look, see, uncredited Ben Affleck.
Oh wow.
Disrespectful.
Yeah,
But anyway.
crazy, crazy. So yeah, so if you haven't heard about that, Ray, I mean, knowing what you know, does that sound a little weird to do show business as is, or I mean,
It sounds petty.
petty, huh?
Yeah.
Very petty from our DC co-CEO. So The Flash, quick thoughts out of theater. What did you think, Ray? Well, as soon as you walked out of the Flash movie, what were your first initial thoughts?
I had that post-movie feeling. I was happy that I got to see all the cameos and stuff like that. But then everything else just outshined those. I felt like it took away from the actual movie. I mean, it was the most exciting part of the movie.
Flaws or what?
Yeah, the flaws, the obvious flaw.
Okay. I see that. What about you, Josh? Out of theater.
Oh my goodness.
You'll have your chance to rip into it, okay? Just get out of theater.
Okay.
Calm down.
Well, I was excited for a long time, and then we got to the theater, and once we were in the car, I was like, man, what if now everything is not that it's cracked up to be? That was kind of our thing, and then we said in the other episodes, we kind of dropped everything at the door, all the news, all that. After the movie, though, I felt very upset. I was angry. I was visibly upset. The episode we did after kind of showed that, because I was just so annoyed at the movie, very angry at the movie. So burnt. I was so like, you guys can't fathom how angry I was. Thinking about it now, I still kind of feel it, but I was just so disappointed.
I feel that, because straight out of theater reaction, I felt disappointed as well. But after, I'd be honest, at first I was disappointed, but after I walked away, I was able to find, because you know me, I'm very optimistic. So after walking away, I was able to like find little nuggets that I liked within the movie. But like how Ray says, there were some things that just completely just smothered it. Like I was like, oh, look, a little flame. Like this is what I liked from the movie. And then something just came along and was like, so I mean, straight out of theater, I mean, I really just had a bad taste in my mouth. But now thinking about it, it's not as bad of a taste. You know what I mean? I guess kind of acquired taste, but we'll break down why that is as we go along. So with that, I guess the first question that we can talk about is, I guess we can do the obvious, right? Let's talk about the CGI. I think that I think the elephant in the room needs to be addressed.
That's a good
Yeah.
And then we can move on to everything else without CGI being 100% an issue. So let's talk about CGI. Ray, what did you think when it came to the CGI within this movie?
Trash. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just trash. It's I think they should have spent a little more time on it. In the Justice League, in both versions, his movement, it seems a lot better. When he's running, everything visually looks a lot better. But for some reason, right there, because I guess there was a lot more around him going on. I guess they just didn't want to put in the extra time, or I guess the budget, the budget. But I mean, you can compare it to. What was it, Quicksilver in X-Men Apocalypse?
Okay.
That scene, they used actual objects around him and then edited around him.
Yeah,
and that's why it looks so clean. So it's a really good scene. But
yeah,
over here we had video game babies.
damn. Yeah,
Like it was rendered on an old computer.
yeah.
Like they were just trying to get the project out the door. That's what it feels like. Or whether they changed something in it and just.
I feel like they showcased the worst scenes and the best scenes in the trailer. Like I watched the whole movie and I seen the scenes that were in the trailer, and I was like, okay, they really polished these ones, and then they cuts to a shitty one, and I was like, damn, they really just conditioned you to really like that one.
yeah.
And then the next one, it just looks like really weird.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. There was a lot of scenes in the trailer where not only did some look unpolished, but you can tell that the money shots that they were banking on, where it looked really good. You know what I mean? Like a lot of Ezra's running was ass, but like when you saw the scenes from the trailer, you're like, that looks really well done. And then it went back to shit, because you can tell they needed a selling point. They couldn't showcase ass CGI.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and you were rocking with the CGI.
I don't know. That shit was horrendous. I'm sorry, dude. Like, we are at a point in time where CGI shouldn't look this bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have repeat offenders from both sides. The Flash, Quantumania, Shazam 2. Like, we shouldn't be at this point, We've come a long way in technology to where this shouldn't be happening. And before... people are like, oh, what about, there's more to the things in the CGI. Like, yeah, but in a superhero movie, you kind of need good CGI. It kind of sucks that a movie from 10 years ago can kind of hold up better than this one. Shout out Man of Steel.
Yeah, we were at a point in time where like Transformers looked fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're at a point in time where Iron Man's first suit was just real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was so much great stuff that, like you said, X-Men, Days of Future Past, that fucking older films that had done Speed did it a little bit better than what they did with this one. I told you before, like, I do appreciate that they doubled down with the way that Ezra runs. I think that was like the only positive that I liked out of it, but they made it look like dog shit. Coming from like a movie like even in Justice League, I would say they did it pretty well, the way they made him run and the CGI that they used for that film. But like in Zack Snyder's Justice League, they really showcased the way it should be done right. And then you seen movies like Eternals, where like, you know, we had that speedster who, you know, Makari, like that looked way better. You know what I mean? Like we have way better CGI in different superhero movies from speedsters, even in Age of Ultron. Like the way his was completely unique. They didn't even give us anything worthwhile in this one. Even those dumb scenes with the Chrono Dome or whatever the hell that shit was called. I think the opening scene, the one, like that shit took me out immediately when, you know, after he was gonna run and everything, when he starts running after he talks to the kids and like they do that whole 360 spin around him. I was like, are you fucking shitting me right now? Like out the gate, like you didn't even let me at least be like, ooh, this looks good. You know what I mean?
You seen Smallville? Have you seen Smallville?
No. Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, you remember the episodes with where they had Bart, the speedster, and like he was like running or whatever.
Yeah,
he had Superman running alongside him.
Yeah,
the CGI reminds me of that. You know what I mean? That's 2005. Like, you know what I mean? CGI. There's no reason for this. There's no reason for that to happen and look that bad.
Yeah. They did do a good job with some scenes. I will say there was a couple of them that actually
scenes where they weren't big action pieces. I feel they were like more well done, but like why were I understand where those were done well. They're small scenes, you don't need everything, but why couldn't you follow through with almost every other big scene?
No, you're right. And just, you know, because you pointed it out a little bit, I seen that little sneak diss, but we're gonna address it actually. I seen it on Twitter. Shout out John, he's one of the listeners out there.
Yeah.
Ray, is CGI a big part of storytelling? Do you think that there's more to a movie than just CGI? Do you think that CGI could look garbage if the story is really good and you can overlook that CGI? Or do you feel like CGI not being great can distract you and take away points from a good movie?
Yeah, the CGI definitely has to complement the story. Because, I mean, that's the whole point of a movie, is that you're going to see something visual. It has to appeal to your eye. But if you don't if it's going to be a good part of the movie and you don't put the effort into it, it's going to distract you from the plot. That's what it's going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, yeah. I mean, when we talked about it off pod, I didn't think we were going to bring it up. I got to be real with you, bro. But since we are, I mentioned Way of Water. You see Way of Water?
Way of Water, yeah.
What do you call it? You can have the story. It's a great story, but you couldn't have it without that hyper realism of James Cameron's eye. You know what I mean? The way he abuses CGI or uses CGI, whichever way you want to call it, he like it's visually appealing. Like that movie looks beautiful and it also has a good plot to carry it. You know what I mean? A lot of people feel opposite about that. They're like, oh, the only reason people like this movie is because it's visually appealing, but the plot's ass. I'm like, no, both of them have to complement each other. And like even a superhero movie, think about what we were talking about with Ant-Man and Quantumania. You know what I mean? The story itself is kind of Kane kind of carries it, depending on how you view things. But the entire world is CGI. You got characters that are CGI. You got the world around them CGI. Every time they moved, it was only their faces. The background was just fake. You know what I mean? And it takes you out of it because you can't pay attention to the actors, what they're saying, what the story's doing, because every time they're on screen, it's a blurry background meant to, you know, look visually appealing, but no, it looks ass. Yeah, so it's distracting. There's a reason why people were clowning MODOK. You know what I mean? Yeah, he looks fucking ridiculous. And like, I know people want to be like, oh, like he was meant to be funny or whatever. Yeah, but not that funny. Not only is he a shit character, but he looks ridiculous. It's a bit of, you need good CGI.
Good CGI is how Ray said. It complements the movie. It's something that needs to be shown. We're at an age where CGI is not that big of a deal anymore. Everybody does it. Netflix fucking does it. There's some Netflix shows that look better than this movie. You know what I mean? And there is movies out there that I can say that CGI is terrible, but story-wise and everything, I can get behind it. Like I think it was 2011 Tron. I know a lot of people give it shit because of the CGI face, but they were one of the first people to really do that. You know what I mean? And so, like, I watch it now. The story's so good. Like, even though Jeff Bridges' face is a little distracting during the movie, like, you can look at it and be like, it's not too bad. At least, the story's still so solid that, that you can look past those things. So you can have a really good story to the point where but you got to look like at least you try, I guess, in my opinion. If you're trying to make it look as real as possible and you gave us that and, you fall a little bit short, it could become a cult classic.
Yeah.
I think Scott Pilgrim versus the World is a perfect example too. The CGI is not 100%, but at the same time, what they do, they took a spin to it. They made it look like a video game, and that they try to show you a different route. Yeah. So you didn't get pulled out of that, and so trying makes it a cult classic.
Yeah.
The Flash is not going to be a cult classic.
Oh no.
This movie is not going to be. There's no way. It looks like they did not try, and it looks like for the scenes that they did try, they replaced another scene where they probably were trying, but had to really take shortcuts and cheapen things. And the CGI in this movie was just abysmal.
Yeah, there's no real good scenes, and the scenes that I think are good only require minimal movement. Like I said, like the best scene I can recall is the one where Barry kind of slows down time toward the end. You know what I mean? And he's talking to his mom.
That was a beautiful.
Like that looked really nice. But compare that to earlier in the movie where, again, the very first thing we see him do is run across country. You know what I mean? And like, it looks bad. It looks so ridiculous. His suit looks ridiculous. Those babies in the first sequence look ridiculous. Ben Affleck as the Batman looks ridiculous. I'm sorry. I can't appreciate.
Let it all out.
Can't appreciate that action sequence as much as cool as I wanted it to be. It looks like ass. I can't appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like him using the streets and gliding and this and that. Like, I can't appreciate that because it looks like rubber. He looks like ass. Like, I can't appreciate it. It's not a good look.
I seen some scenes where like they have the body doubles, full CG for the CW Flash.
Yeah.
And some of those look a little bit better than what we've got in the movie. That whole desert scene was just crazy. That shit was just like, man, who said that was okay? Like, who said this is the look we're going for? Apparently Andy Muschietti, because it came out saying that some CGI is intentional. So who knows?
I think I really hated the concept of that dome. You know what I mean? Like, I will dive into that plot later, but the way everything looked when he was running, you know what I mean? They CGI'd Henry Cavill. Like, it looked so bad. It looked so bad. And they were like, I don't even want to dive into the plot because I know we're going to get there, but it just looks so bad. I didn't like that concept at all. Man.
Yeah.
This fucking movie.
and I get inside the Chrono Ball. That's the one where he was like, oh, it's meant to look like that. But still, that shit did not look good. I was trying to think, like,
He remembers people as rubber? What the fuck is it?
Burke rubber. So, I mean, you got all the CGI shit out of your system. You good? You got anything in you, Ray? You got anything to say about the CGI?
What they did to my boy Zod.
Oh, dude, you cannot tell me that he was on set for that shit. There's no way. That boy was just a floating head, and the rest was all CGI. There was no way.
So
the eyes, like, there was weird, like the angles were weird because in like Man of Steel, the eyes were highlighted, but it was kind of like dark, so it would clear up so you can see his full face. And in the Flash, like, it was blue tint, and it was like a glow layer around the eye, and it was so distracting. And every time he would like look in the sun or like towards Kara when she was up in the air, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh man.
I feel like you weren't supposed to pay attention to him because the whole time he felt just like, I don't know, like just something on the side.
Yeah.
Like,
He was a side.
yeah, because the main point was for them to obviously try to save the planet, but they were just like, no, don't focus on this, focus on both the Flashes. That's what it felt like, because there was not much attention to that.
Are we saving the cameos of their own selection, or is that also part of the CGI problem?
The cameos, I mean, it's part of CGI.
Okay. Well then, fuck what they did. Fuck them for disrespecting everybody in that fucking movie. Those scenes, man. Christopher Reeve's Superman being the worst offender, and George Reeves, right? I don't want to get his name.
I think Nicolas Cage's was crazy too.
That one was 100% just.
Like, well, now I'm kind of curious about like what his Superman was gonna be, because how do you fight robot spiders?
Well, it's so funny because the concept was that it was supposed to be basically him coming out, and because the movie got scrapped, get this, the movie got scrapped because the producer wanted that to be the third act fight. He said, I don't give a shit how the movie comes out. I want Nicolas Cage to fight this giant spider at the end of this movie. And that's what the little nod was at the end.
What the fuck?
Superman could not fly. I think it was he had three rules.
Yeah, something like that.
He could not fly. His suit was not going to be the same color, red and blue.
That's why he had like that armored blue or whatever, because he didn't want that like classic Superman suit.
That explains.
Yeah, and then he had to fight a spider.
He had to fight that spider.
And did you see that? I think he was the same person that directed Wild Wild West.
Yeah, him.
And what's in Wild Wild West?
A big giant spider.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so confused. That's so confusing.
And Tim Burton was supposed to direct that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. Thank God. No.
I think producer Tim Burton.
Oh, there you go.
Director, I forgot the name of the guy.
That is so confusing. Because like, even I was like so confused. I was like, what dark apocalyptic world is he fighting a giant ass spider for?
Yeah.
Like, the spider concept sounds cool, but seeing him, it really threw me off guard, because like he doesn't even have a movie. So I was like, why would you spend so much time on him?
That was my thing too. I mean, we're gonna kind of dive into the cameos. This will be the topic too. Yeah. So, but like, I think it was wasted with him, because nobody, unless you did research on it or you looked into it, or you knew about this way back when.
Yeah.
You're not gonna know anything about this.
Oh, not
Casual fans are just gonna be like, Nicolas Cage fighting a spider. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like it's just so left field for regular people, like general audiences. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make any sense where the appeal would have came from.
That's why people were confused that they didn't even bother like cameoing Grant Gustin or even the '90s Flash.
That was crazy. That was a weird diss, because even Ezra made an appearance on the show.
Yeah, and get this. This is why I was pointing it out to you. In George Reeves' universe, what do you call it? They have a speedster running.
Yeah.
And you've seen it. It was that dude, skinny dude with the hat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming he was meant to be that universe's Jay Garrick.
Okay.
But get this. It's confusing. I know. Let me connect the dots for you. So the dude that was in the Flash season 2, he was pretending to be Jay Garrick, but in actuality, it was Zoom. So the dude that played Zoom and Jay Garrick was like, wait, I'm too busy to be like, I'm busy being a parent. I don't even remember filming that scene. So they used his likeness for that in the Flash, but he didn't even know that. You know what I mean? And that's why people were so confused. Like, why would they use that guy as Jay Garrick instead of actually bringing in the '90s Flash or Grant Gustin?
Yeah, and it was even more confusing because even Andy Muschietti admitted himself that Nicolas Cage and Helen Slater went into the booth to record those scenes. So my thing was, why are they still CGI?
Yeah, why do you still look like that?
Why do they still look so bad?
Unless they had to like switch out something at the end.
Well, my thing was that they de-aged Nicolas Cage. And I'm just like, why did they need to do that? Like, they didn't really establish a world. Like I said, nobody would have known about that. So why do they have to de-age him in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And if they were going to do that, I mean, there was better technology out there than what they did. Like I said, this is the equivalent of saying like, oh, well, I tried. You know what I mean? Like, I did my best.
So he was there for the recording.
So supposedly the director, that he said that they came in to record these cameos.
It sounds likely because supposedly he's a Superman fan.
Yeah,
and that's why he named his son Cal.
Yeah, the director put out a quote saying that I guess 6 months before release that he came in to record it. So that shit was made in under 6 months.
So
Oh,
this movie, man. But now I
It was like a random just cameo. They were just like, we've been holding out for you, Nicolas Cage. It's like, but you had Greg Gustin right there.
so confusing. So confusing. The voice offender, IMO, what they did to Christopher Reeves. I don't want his memory that way. I prefer his memory to remain untouched like this, unabused. What they did to him was so disrespectful. Him and George. May they rest in peace.
Let me ask you a question. And I just want to know, because I want to see if this kind of factors in. But like, did you have an issue with the way Christopher Reeves was? Were you a fan of his Superman back in the day?
I do remember seeing the older Superman movie when I was a kid. But, I mean, I thought they would have just used pretty much live footage or footage from the actual movie. I mean, that would seem a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, portraying him, but there was no need for him to make him a rubber figure.
No, yeah, I agree. So you were a fan as well, Josh, right?
Yes.
So you were a fan of his Superman?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, I don't want to say, like, because he's not, I'm sure he's not, like, your guys' favorite Superman.
No.
And so, I'm, let me try to be as fair as I can, because I'm not going to be like, oh, you're virtual signaling, or you guys are trying to be on the bandwagon with everybody else. I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't really watch him or, really worry about him as your favorite Superman, is it so disrespectful, or is it just the fact that Warner Brothers did that in the first place? Like, is it do you feel like it's disrespectful, like the way you've seen him? Like, if you didn't know all the drama, would you have been okay with seeing that? Or is it just disrespectful because it looks like they didn't try?
It's, if I didn't know, if I was a casual fan and I wasn't invested, I'd be like, okay, this is fine. You know what I mean? I don't know who that is. Yeah, this is cool. You know what I mean? But, and I'd be like, well, that still looks funky. You know what I mean? Even as like a general fan. And then if he wasn't my favorite, if he wasn't this big legacy character, because, I brag about him and I brag about Brandon Ruth because they're tied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if even if at most he wasn't my favorite, I'd still be like, damn, that is really weird. They made him look like this. You know what I mean? It's still very disrespectful, no matter if you like him, don't like him. You know what I mean? Because I feel at some capacity, everyone knows who he is.
Yeah. And you, Ray, because you're a little bit older. I expect that he's not like 50 years old. He's older than me. But I always, I always get a lot of shit because I always, a lot of people say like, oh man, you make it sound bad. And I'm just like, I know, and I try to fix it after the fact. But so because he was probably a little bit more your Superman. I don't know. Was Brandon Ruth your Superman? Like Superman Returns? It was more Christopher Reeves. Do you believe? Like you grew up with him more?
No, it was more with Michael Keaton. Even because it's Superman. No, I think I started watching with Man of Steel. Well, I did see the older movies with Christopher Reeve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and saw how they use like the mirrors to make him look like he's flying, all that cool stuff. But I think Man of Steel is the first Superman I started paying attention more to.
Oh, okay. So Christopher Reeves wasn't really, but like, so with that, did you feel like it was disrespectful? Like, do you feel like it was kind of like what I was asking him?
It's more of the visual wise. I mean, it's just cut a scene from the movie. That's all you need, or at least something like that.
Yeah.
And there's no need to do it with visual effects if they're not even doing it right.
Yeah. Okay. And like a lot of people barely found out about what happened with George. I know we were talking about it. Like I didn't it just looks very weird they did that to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't agree with people scrubbing history and coming back and trying to like find shit to be mad at. That's the only reason why I asked. Like with George Reeves, I didn't know, and I think that's pretty shitty for WB to do. But I'm not gonna be like a big advocate.
No, well, yeah,
I could be a little shitty, but Christopher Reeves for me, like even with Helen Slater, like if they could have used footage, and also they could have cut it up a lot better.
Yes,
I used the example of No Way Home, Sandman. They didn't have him for the movie, and so that one scene where you just see him disintegrating, he looks at his hand. That was a cut shot from Spider-Man 3. So it's like they could have done something like that with Christopher Reeves, or if they were gonna go the CGI route, it didn't have to be so much that he looked like a puppet. You know what I mean? Like it should have looked more realistic. a little bit more effort if you're gonna put him like that. Like George Reeves Superman, the way they made him look, like it was more smaller, not so much in your face.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he looked a little bit more wonky and he was kind of in the background a little bit. But like Adam West is too, like they kind of did a good job with him. But with Christopher Reeves, that Nicolas Cage, those big money shots, like you guys should have polished those just that much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So CGI, cameos, I guess cameos themselves. Just a little side note. I mean, what would you rate the cameos? Like, how would you rank the cameos?
How would I rank the cameo?
Yeah.
Oh man. All issues aside, I guess I would put Christopher Reeves first, Nicolas Cage second, and then all of the rest of them can fall in line. But there was a lot of me just like, what the fuck? like seeing Nicolas Cage, I was so like was so confused. I was like, why? Like the concept sounds cool. Like him fighting that robot spider sounds pretty fucking cool, but I was still more like, what the fuck, Nicolas Cage? Like it took me out of the movie for a second because I was really just like, wow.
So that's my top one.
Yeah.
Just for the it made me laugh. I was like, wow, that actually remember. And they're trying to remember him get in that part, and I think the reason that I knew about it is because I've seen an interesting fact that he got paid for that role.
Oh yeah.
And he never got to play in it.
Mm-hmm.
So he just it just didn't happen, and he got paid for it. So that
nobody could agree with anything, and they signed checks and everything, and it was just like, okay.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine because I mean,
Production hell too. They wasted his time.
yeah, they got to the point where he was in an actual suit. So I'd imagine production lasted like a few months.
Well, there's always like test suits and stuff like that. Yeah, I think they didn't make it past pre-production. I just think that a lot of the politics was getting in the way, and then that's when they were like, Superman Returns.
Thank God they went that route. I would have been so confused.
it would have been funny.
Yeah, so
Like, not just a side note because we are still on the cameos, but the CW, man, I've mentioned it to you before. The way they did their Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, and they managed to cameo people in a nice way. Like, they should have went that route. You know, they mentioned Adam West Robin, where he was like, yeah, we understand he's an older man, but they mentioned him. They mentioned the Teen Titans, or they mentioned Titans, and then they mentioned Adam West there too. They mentioned a lot of big things that DC fans can look at and be like, oh, I know where this dude's from. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They mentioned Smallville Superman. They had a lot of things going on. Hell, Greg Gustin, Ezra Miller was there. They did it tastefully, and that was for TV. You know what I mean? This movie couldn't even do it for movie sake.
I was gonna even say I watched this clip quite often. I don't even watch the show, but I watched the clip. Is the Titans clip where Beast Boy's going through the multiverse?
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with that shit too.
See?
If they would have just done that clip a little bit longer, put a little bit more cameos, I would have thought it was a perfect clip. But like the music, the way that they showcase it and everything, I think they could have done something like that when he was running through it. But like, I don't know, like the whole stadium thing to me was kind of out of left field. Like, oh, he runs in the place and rewinds time because, you know, stadium style, you know what I mean? I was like, that, to me, I didn't really like that concept.
That's why
I wish we could have seen it in a different way.
That's why I was so confused. We see it animated all the time, even in the CW show. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep bringing it up because the Flash we're gonna compare them. But like when the CW Flash runs back in time, it actually looks like it's warping time. It doesn't look like this empty space. You know what I mean? It's so weird that they put him in a doll and like had him go
Right, like on a treadmill.
Like, type of DVD menu kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't work here.
Hey, let me go through my greatest hit.
Let's swipe left, swipe left on the hair.
What do you think of it, the stadium style? Like,
Definitely it was a little bit weird, but I mean, I don't know how else I would want it, or like how it would actually look, the design of it.
Oh, so you never really like seen different, like you never seen like Justice League, like the animated Justice League?
Yeah. Oh no, the animated, I didn't catch much of it.
No,
Never saw the animated Flashpoint movie. The way he does it.
I got a lot. It's my homework now. I'm gonna catch up.
Yeah. No,
we got lists, bro. We got lists.
Send me the list.
So yeah, there's that's interesting. So maybe a lot of people. So you thought it was weird, but did you appreciate at least what they delivered, or did you just think it was like, nah, we could have done it a different way? You're not sure how to do it, but you could have done it differently.
Yeah, how I said it looks like a DVD menu. Like you're just fast forwarding the remote control, like trying to see where you're gonna end up.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was kind of that makes sense because I asked a couple people at my job too, and they were kind of like, they're like, yeah, like it was just so weird the way that they played that scene out or whatever. I seen people I seen one person bring up Rebels, and I was like, they weren't really running through the Speed Force, but I mean, I guess you could say like the way, I guess people like windows, if that makes sense, windows into like glimpses, if that makes sense. And I was like, okay, that's a different take, kind of, yeah,
interesting way
to see little glimpses in the wall and stuff like that. So, yeah, not a lot of people can really think of that shit. That shit's really weird. I just thought it was a weird take on that whole going through the Speed Force.
Yeah.
But let's stop trashing on the cameos, the CGI. Let's talk about the plot a little bit. Let's go characters first. Ezra Miller, Sasha Kaye, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Wonder Woman for a little bit. I mean, what do you guys think of the characters? Don't fight to go first. Just pick somebody.
Ray, you can go.
He's like, I'll let you go first. he had a long list.
Yeah. I mean,
who is your standout character? Let's start with that one.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Oh, you Keaton fan.
Yeah. It's Batman I grew up with.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't had action figures and everything.
I used to play with Keaton's Batmobile too.
Yeah.
I used to like his Batmobile.
Yeah, I had the same one, and the cockpit would pop out, and it was an airplane.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's nice. Oh, you had the good toys, man.
Yeah.
You had my childhood. Clench his fist. So Michael Keaton was your favorite. What did you think about everybody else? How did you think as Ezra Miller as being the lead?
I mean, plot-wise, I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Well, as soon as he figures out, but the part I didn't like is that he just like ran into it, figured out he could go back in time. It just like, oh, I can do this. He tells Batman, and then goes back and does it again. Does not go through any process. Just does it, go straight for it. And then obviously we know he's gonna mess something up.
Oh, like after the warnings that he was giving, like
after the warnings,
just kind of played stupid and kept going.
Yeah, that's what I feel. And from then on, you know more so. You wanted to see. Well, I guess you wanted to see what he messed up.
Okay, all right. So you felt like the plot was kind of like pushed through, kind of easily because it was just like, dude, I'm gonna do it anyways type.
Yeah.
I get you. Okay, what about you, Josh?
Yeah, tell the show.
Okay, so we're not on plot yet. We're on characters, right? Just so I don't get confused.
Yeah, let's do characters.
Because plot is a whole other can of worms. Characters.
Bring out your list.
Okay, so I gotta say, I like Ezra Miller as an actor. I know this is gonna sound dumb, but the way he kind of portrays his younger self and his current self, their chemistry, they make it work. I don't know how, but they were solid for me. I kind of enjoyed them. I don't like what they did with Ben Affleck. I'm very disappointed that they did that to my boy. What they make him say when he holds the lasso, I don't vibe with that. Even I know what I said before with Shazam. The last time we saw Wonder Woman, I still don't like her as this empty shell goddess type deal. I don't vibe with that.
Eye candy.
Like
come in for a sex joke.
Yeah, I think people were saying that her skirt got shorter.
It did.
Yeah. Like, and I don't vibe with that. That's not my Wonder Woman. I'm sorry. I didn't like what they did with her either. Michael Keaton, I didn't vibe with.
You want to get nuts?
Here's my thing about Michael Keaton. I'll say it repeatedly, but when they decided on nostalgia factor, they went with the wrong person. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's, like, I understand the older crowd will get it.
Yeah.
Like, but people my age, you know, they're either not gonna know who Keaton is or they are gonna
give a fuck.
Yeah, they're not gonna give two shits about him because we have Bale and we have Ben Affleck. You know what I mean? And that kind of goes toward the ending, but we'll touch up on that later.
There's no way they would ever get Bale.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like
that's what it meant.
Like they could have done so much more, and I wasn't personally. I wasn't vibing with Keaton as this character. We'll touch up on that later. but for the most part, I wasn't vibing with him. Sasha Kaye, a Supergirl, as little as she was in the movie, I still liked her. I think I liked her overall. Her and Barry were really like my two like static things. Didn't like what they did to Namek. Didn't like what they did to Feora.
Dirty.
Didn't like what they did to Zod.
Did him dirty.
I just feel like this movie was a lot of a, like, as much as I was anticipating it before I started my downward spiral, I feel very like this was a giant like fuck you to everything that I kind of enjoyed from the past DCEU movies, I think.
I gotta agree. I like Ezra Miller. I like the dynamic. It was annoying to hear how younger Ezra was being. It was interesting to see that they used that, used his younger self being abrasive.
Yeah.
To basically make future Barry an adult kind of thing. And so I really like that and how he was able to like switch that from being abrasive in the beginning to basically being a little bit more mature throughout the movie. So I do give props to Ezra Miller. Sasha Calle gave nothing as Supergirl. Gave nothing. I did not enjoy her. And you know what? It sucks too because I thought she was fine as fuck, bro. I was like, damn, what does the S on my chest mean? I don't care. You know what I mean? But hey, look, her character was just not where it needed to be. Not where I thought it was gonna like. I thought that this could have been Supergirl for the future. You know what I mean? And I don't know if maybe it was just her like lines, her motivation. Maybe it was the director's fault. Maybe we could have gotten a better Supergirl out of her in a different direction. But she has the look, but she just didn't deliver as a character, in my opinion. Wonder Woman, whatever. Honestly, I'm already used to her being that person because they made her that person since 1984. So I was like, if she's fine with coming back to be that person, hey, Gal Gadot, more power to you. Whatever, you do what you got to do to get your bag. Ben Affleck, I was expecting more out of him. Even after he said that he had this emotional scene, I don't know if the one that we seen in the movie, if that was the scene he was talking about. I want him to come out and confirm that shit because you remember when we talked about it when he had that interview. It was like, oh, this is when I found out like I played Batman good or whatever. And I don't think that was the scene. I don't believe that was the scene that he had. I did like Jeremy Irons' little time in the sunlight right there when he was helping. I did like the opening sequence. I did like it. I think it played out very well as kind of like a superhero team up type thing. I think it did what it needed to do. Mm-hmm. I just think the way that the actors were portraying these characters were not living up to what we seen previous. You know what I mean? We seen them as badasses at one point, and here we are. They're just goofy superheroes now. And I was like, man, no, this is not. I can't take them seriously. Not even Iron Man was that goofy. You know what I mean? Like, this fucking ridiculous. General Zod, he was just brought to be dead. Feora, same thing. He was just brought to be dead as well. Like, we're gonna talk about this on the plot, and this is what I brought up to you later. So I'm gonna try not to touch up on it. I got close to it. I was in the danger zone for a second. I was gonna go off topic, but everybody else basically showed up to get their paycheck in, and as much as that to me, that's what it felt. Besides Ezra Miller, I think that anything else, it looked like Ezra Miller was acting for his career.
Yeah,
and it looked like everybody else was just there because they were paid to be there.
Yeah,
and I just didn't like that. It just felt so bland and so boring compared to what we've seen before. Mm-hmm. Compared. So I totally forgot to mention, I kind of enjoyed Iris. Did you like Iris? I kind of liked her scenes with Barry. Yeah, but it wasn't really. Yeah, it did, and I like how he played nervous with her, but we just didn't get enough. Right. I felt underfed about that one.
I didn't like Dark Flash. He did not like that. It did not like him.
It was another Black Adam villain. It was a Sabak that just, came out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, I've been the villain all along. Haha. It's like, this whole time? Really? Didn't like his character. They could have used an actual canon evil speedster, but they went their own route again, and I just couldn't vibe with him either. But I feel like I kind of got everybody. So we're vibing. What do you think about? Do you remember him in the movie?
Yeah. Just a quick second. 2 scenes. He has the ending scene where he shows up, and that scene where he knocks out Barry. Yeah, felt shallow. I was the one that pushed you. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Like, I pushed you so I could be bored. Like, no, you dummy. Like, you had to make sure it happened. Why didn't you let it happen naturally? What the fuck?
Oh man, that shit was crazy. So yeah, characters, they were kind of just there for a paycheck in this movie for me. I mean, personally, Keaton coming back after all these years, you really think that he didn't give it his all for this movie? Or did you feel like he never had it to begin with? I
don't think he had it to begin with. I got to be real, because we'll touch upon it later. But I just finished watching both of them, the Keaton movies.
Yeah.
I'm not vibing with his Batman. I'll already say it. There's I think the first one is very much carried by Jack Nicholson, and we'll touch upon it later. And then the second one, he does a little better, but again, it's still carried by the villains, very much so. So I don't think his Batman is for me. It's not. I'm not vibing with him, and him coming back, like again, I'm sure it's cool for some people, but if I'm not invested, either nostalgically or story wise, I'm not gonna be vibing with it at all.
Yeah, well, I do like him, but it just plays on the nostalgia of having him back. And seeing his quick fight scene, I really doubt it was him. Like, he looked stiff the whole time, and then with that fight scene, he looked so flexible and everything.
Yeah.
What fight scene are you referring to? All of them?
The one where he's in the Russian place.
I told you when that trailer came out, bro. I said there is no way in all that his man is gonna fucking move like that. There's no fucking way.
When he was first, I was kind of just like, okay, I'll let it slide. But when he was doing to Namek, I was like, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way.
No prep time, no nothing. Hashtag best Batman. Yeah, man. I think he came back, like I said, for his check. I mean, at the same time, I don't feel like he improved on what he gave us back in the original.
Yeah.
So I can say consistency was there. Because in the original, it just seemed like, I know you said that he was better in the second one. I kind of felt like he was the same in both parts.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he's a good Bruce Wayne. However he's able to change to look like this strong-jawed Batman in the Batsuit is fucking crazy. But like even the scene where like in Returns where like he rips the mask off and he's still able to look like, he doesn't look like that when he's just in his regular suit. So yeah. I don't know if they were trying to go for that like Superman persona, like you don't know it's him when he's out of the suit type shit, like he looks completely different. But yeah, that's what they basically did here too. So I can say he was consistent, though he is a classic to me. I won't say he's the best Batman, but I just cannot believe that the dude that I seen in the movies those days can move the way that he did in that movie. And that's just the worst part. Like you can't even believe it. Like if you would have had Christian Bale's and maybe tweaked a little bit, you could maybe believe that he could probably have done something not exact, no, probably not nothing like that, but like they could have done something different. Or like I told you before, they could have went down the route where they didn't need a different Batman. They could have just used Ben Affleck and just paid him a different take. Yeah. You know what I mean? Maybe not a, you know, how everybody said in BVS, a killing Batman who shoots people.
That was our thing, because we talked about it again off pod. But it was hard to believe him as this all-moving figure, you know what I mean? And his Batman is like 70, you know? And
retired.
Yeah, and retired.
He's retired, he has a beard.
Yeah, so there's no way to believe, like, you brought it up when we talked about it. Christian Bale, he was in retirement for like how many years before he picked up the mantle?
Yeah.
In the third movie? He had to wear a knee brace, and, you know, he had to like actually wear armor that supported him.
Yeah,
because he's still human.
And he showed in his fighting too that he was like
still like
stiff and didn't know how to completely move right.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
That's why when Bane beats his ass, you're like, that's realistic. You know what I mean? He's not the same young Bruce anymore. With Keaton, you're like, yeah, if he's doing all this at age 70, what the fuck is going on?
You can only believe that if he was in a Batman Beyond movie. If he had the technology to enhance himself that way. But it was supposed to just be him in his rubber suit.
Yeah.
Dude's been Batman for 70 years and did not know how to figure out a movable neck.
Yeah.
You're still wearing a rubber mask, my man?
Yeah, no, it doesn't make much sense.
Oh, yeah, and you see Youngberry takes a little like jab at it.
Yeah.
Like he puts it on and tries to move his head and it just stays in place.
Yeah,
the whole time.
That was actually funny.
That was one of my things, because I was like, okay, he got smart and he like ripped out the neck, and I'm like, well, there you go. Now he can move his head. Why couldn't Keaton just, like, he has all those suits? It doesn't make much sense to me.
That shit was.
At age 70, he shouldn't be able to move like that.
No, he should not. No, he should.
Drugs. Lots of drugs.
Any more gripes with these characters? Any more Anybody else that you were like, "Ayo, why they do that to my boy or my girl?"
The biggest offender. They killed Superman as a baby. The biggest offender. I was so angry. I was so visibly mad when he mentions that.
I think that's a plot point.
Is it? Well, either way, you said it. I'm bringing it up. If I gotta bring it up again, I will. But the worst offender,
Killing Superman.
killing Superman as a fucking baby.
How'd they kill him?
He put a pillow. He was like,
They said that they had to extract the thing from him and that he just didn't survive that. And I'm like, well, you killed a fucking baby.
Oh yeah, he stabbed him.
because in Man of Steel he put the codex within his blood.
Yeah.
So I guess they stuck him to check the blood, and he just didn't survive after that. And it turns out that he didn't even have it in him. Kara actually had the all the ancestry in her blood. So
It's the bullshit.
which was weird. But I think that should segue us to the plot, anyways. So
Wait, yeah. So Barry changed the location of the tomato sauce, caused that to happen.
basically, so the way that they put it in the movie is basically he didn't go back in time to his timeline and change things. He basically went into somebody else's timeline. So that timeline was Michael Keaton as Batman, and instead of Kal-El coming down to Earth, it was Kara who came down to Earth. I guess they didn't want him going to jail, and they caught him immediately as soon as he took off into space. And then they were like, "Oh no, he doesn't have what we need. It's the other pod that made it." So, yeah, that's the change that they did for plot purposes. So, moving to the plot then, Josh.
Yeah.
Besides that little side plot, so what would you think of the plot in general?
The plot, they try to do something nice and interesting and complex. But here's the thing. I've seen Flashpoint be made about 3 times in my lifetime, if you actually count the comic book.
Mm.
They did it animated. They did it on the CW show. And again, the comic. It's been done. It's a very much dead thing to have happen. We know Barry resets the timeline here. The only difference is, though, is that they don't bring in Reverse Flash, and
Which I'm assuming that was supposed to be a setup for the sequel.
I'm assuming, but again, it doesn't make much sense. You prevent your father from going to jail, but again, that shouldn't have stopped his mother dying. You know what I mean? His mother dies regardless. It doesn't matter if his dad is there or not. You know what I mean? She's supposed to die regardless.
Yeah.
But back to the actual movie, it doesn't make much sense because like Ray was saying, it felt very much like they were trying to just get him to run back in time.
Yeah.
This is why I don't think it's connected to Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know what I mean? He was very hesitant to run back in time. You know what I mean? He felt like he could do it, but there's repercussions to that. And I feel like he was much smarter in Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know what I mean? Like when he did it, he was very much just like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And then when he's forced to do it, it's this big moment where you're like, okay, he can do it, but he just shouldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here it was more like, it felt more like Zack's in Justice League where he's like, no, Dad, I can save you. You know what I mean? Like, I know we have that jail scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but in that film, it feels more like he's reluctant to do it, and then he'll get him out through the crime way, the actual way. While with Justice League, it's like, no, he'll take that shortcut because he doesn't know better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, Ben Affleck tells him, don't do it, and then he figures it out. He's just like, oh, if I just move this little thing, I can go get it. You know what I mean? So he does it, and we find out their whole spaghetti theory and whatnot. And I'm just like, well, I don't think that makes much sense either. You know what I mean? Like if you're running back in time, you're running back in time directly. There's no way. And then if you move a little thing, you're still going back. Your line is only shifted a little bit.
Okay.
So he shouldn't have ended up in a timeline where Keaton is this different Batman and Kara is, whatever. He'd run back to his time, where in his time, things are different. It's not like he jumped multiverses. You know what I mean? That's the thing I kind of wasn't understanding about it either. So their time travel concept is very much misconstrued, I think.
Yeah. Well, they try to make it different and complex.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. If you really think about it, it doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I think that it feels like they mix time travel with a multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work.
What happened?
It doesn't work. And then, we find out with all the other stuff because he fucked with the timeline. And then by the end of it, you're just like, well, none of it really matters now.
That's true too. What about you? What you think about the plot?
Yeah, it felt like he had to rush. They rushed them into time travel, and the movie was pretty long. It would have been way longer if they had to explain everything because, I mean, how Josh said, how does him changing the look, or actually getting the tomato sauce change this Bruce for that Bruce? You know, Ben Affleck for Michael Keaton. How I guess they're trying to play on the thing that if you change one small thing, I guess like the butterfly effect, it will change a lot of things, but it doesn't. It's a whole different person.
Yeah. It wouldn't. That's not how it works. That's what I'm saying. Like it would. Like that's the thing about the Flashpoint story. Superman ends up in jail, not Supergirl. Batman is his dad. You know what I mean? The subtle change is that it's Bruce that gets shot in the alley. You don't get a whole different person from past stuff. You get it from changing whole multiverses.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Sorry to cut you off.
So it's either he's traveling through time or he's jumping multiverses.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I like the explanation of like, oh, it's like a spaghetti bowl. A lot of lines intersect, but that means he did not time travel then. He just went to a different dimension.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because with this, even with the spaghetti that they try to explain it with, the events are going to be the same throughout the multiverse. You know what I mean? Batman is still going to become Batman. Doesn't matter how he becomes Batman. But the difference being is that can you, in this certain timeline, can you prevent it? Yeah. But down the line, that just fucks things up for your own universe. Doesn't change everything out throughout the other multiverses.
Yeah.
And then they try to play it off with the other, like when they're like, you can tell it's more multiverse now because now you got different Earths colliding with each other because he's traveling back in time. When that's not how that works either.
I didn't understand that part, but I understand everything else. So I can defend the Flash on this part where I feel like they made it make sense within the movie's parameters, so I could get along with it. They did listen. So like how Keaton was saying with the noodles, that it just makes different variations. So at the end of the day, the universe that he was in at the time, it did change completely. Like I understand that it was kind of like a cop out, so they didn't have to have Ben Affleck in there or whatever. They just wanted, to change it. But I think them merging that time travel and the different dimensions like together to birth this, it kind of makes sense, and it kind of seems like a new concept. If it was executed a little bit better, it would have made a little bit better sense. It's so confusing because even if you think about it on paper, you're like, oh, Barry 1 has to go back in time, but he goes sees Barry 2, but Barry 2 is not even from the same timeline as Barry 1, but Barry 1 has to go and kill Barry 2 because Barry 2 had it just is all over the place. So I think simplifying it is just like, it's good that, there is his timeline still. Even by the end of the movie, I know he doesn't like learn anything regardless, and it's just it's fucking pointless regardless, but he technically, that's where it raises up more questions than anything. It's like, well, did he technically go into a different universe where he's going to meet a different Flash? You know what I mean? How did he change it completely whereas now it's Clooney? You know what I mean? I think the ending really just fucks up and derails everything that they were building up from in the beginning. And that's probably going to be something that we talk about later on. But it's what really just made everything just be like, well, what the fuck? So that did this, and it's like a second ago it made sense, but now it doesn't.
It doesn't work. I don't think the concept really works in general because you have time travel and then it somehow affects the multiverse, which two different concepts. You know what I mean? It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think it works. I think it works within the movie. By the end of the movie, it doesn't make sense. And I think you're right as well, Ray, when it comes down to like plots just being pushed, because that's another thing for me. And it's going to dip into our because I made a category for like world building and stuff, but like in continuity wise. But I want to, for this, at least plot wise, I want to just single it out to this movie being a standalone for itself and say, if what do you call it? If he's done it before, like they said, and he knows, and he's already been warned by people saying that you can change things, why would he still be like, I'm still gonna do it anyways? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you were smart and you're supposed to be this CSI person, he's supposed to be an investigator or whatever, why wouldn't you have known not to fuck with shit like that? You should have known better. There should have been a better reason than just, oh, I want to get my dad out of jail.
Yeah.
it wasn't enough motivation for me. And like Michael Keaton's motivation, their little side plots too, that whole, oh no, I'm not gonna help you, and then just immediately turns around, oh well, I guess I'll help. I just allowed you to walk in here, you know what I mean? Like, and then Sasha Kaye too, her Supergirl, oh no, I owe nothing to you guys, leaves, comes back, okay, I'll help you. And on top of that, I'll fly this random person that I don't know, saved me at one point, into a straight lightning bolt, and hopefully he survives, which that was another thing too. Can people just get struck by lightning and get powers? Is that it? Is that how it works? Like, it just, everything was just so like, oh, this needs to happen to make this.
That's the difference from the comic though, right? Like I was saying, because Barry's motivation is that he doesn't want his mom dead, but it's Reverse Flash that kills her. So without the enemy to motivate him, what do? They make it a single thing in time where it isn't Reverse Flash killing him. It's just his dad disappears and then she's dead. You know what I mean? That's the correlation they try to make. But even then, that doesn't work, because now you're just like, he's just trying to get him out of jail now. It's not about his actual mother dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about saving his mom. It's about, if his dad never leaves, his mom doesn't die, but she's supposed to die. Like, that's not how that works.
My thing is that they really just try to fucking just push this movie out. They were just like, hey, we just need this shit to happen. Like, just make it happen kind of thing. And it really shows.
No matter how, have him fight a spider.
That's all we need in the third act. So that's going to lead us kind of towards, the ending. And, I usually we have a part with like cinematography, but, there really wasn't anything good. Yeah, it wasn't like no James Cameron type film. It was just like it was very bland. It wasn't very.
And when they try to do something, it looks like ass.
Yeah, there's no point. That's down the drain. But let's talk about world building. Okay, let's talk about the continuity. Now we have to put this movie where it needs to be. And does it connect general audiences? Are they able to follow along? Do they understand? You, Ray, being more general audience, like I said, I don't have to keep saying that, but yeah. I for some reason it just needs to be told. But did you feel like it held up with the other movies that happened prior? Like, Man of Steel happened before, BVS happened, it's canon. Justice League, I'm assuming we don't know which Justice League, but either which way, if he didn't time travel in the theatrical cut, but in Zack Snyder's he did. So wouldn't he have known? Do you feel like that was a hiccup or?
Well, the connection I saw is that he does mention all the other characters, but the part I was waiting for is from Batman versus Superman, where Batman sees the Flash come through and gives him that vision. Well, he's had it's a dream, or could it be a vision? It's a vision, and it's that was Ben Affleck's Batman. So at the beginning when he told him like, no, don't do it, I was expecting him to say like, oh no, like I've seen stuff. I don't know, just give him a bigger warning, like tie him down or something. I don't know, don't do it. Yeah. It's pretty much that was missing. I feel that small connection right there could have added to it.
Could have made it different.
Yeah.
What about you, Josh?
It connects, but very poorly, loosely. It loosely connects, I feel, because this is just the real connectivity era after Snyder's little era. You know what I mean? Because we know a lot of them connect, and then after that it's Aquaman, and we don't know where that one comes through. We're supposed to assume it comes after Justice League. You know what I mean? And then it's 1984, and then it's Birds of Prey, and we all have to assume they fall in line somewhere. And then the Suicide Squad comes out, and then we know Black Adam, and then they mention the Justice League, and Superman's there. Oh, here's a movie. We gotta tie it a little bit here.
Yeah,
and then like
just a little retcon here.
Yeah, to fix everything. And then now we just have to assume that this is the last movie. So no matter where the other ones line up, we know Man of Steel starts here, The Flash ends here, and then just navigate your way through basically.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, you're like, none of it matters now. None of it matters, and you're just like, well, it connects, but you don't know if it connects to Justice League when we last seen him. Or at least I think it does. And then, or does it connect to Zack Snyder's League? I doubt it does. And then so on and so forth, because it's not like how it was before where you had characters showing up in your movie other than the beginning half, but we still don't know. if that's Zack Snyder's Batman or if that's supposed to be the Wonder Woman or even Superman when they give him his little cameo. It connects just loosely, I think.
Okay. But world building within the movie, you felt like it fell flat, or
World building, it does kind of fall flat because there's nothing really interesting here. We kind of know that the Justice League exists. We know Barry is trying to save his father from going to jail again and be his parole or go on parole, whatever it is. And then we find out that that after he time travels, there's this other universe or timeline, whatever you want to call it, and you're like, well, we have no ties to this one either.
Yeah.
And we know Keaton is Batman, and we know somewhere along the line, Supergirl lands, gets caught up in Russia, and so on and so forth. And then by the end of it, he time travels again. We know his father's safe, and now he's just in another universe or timeline, quote unquote, whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't matter in the end. This movie did nothing to progress the DC world or anything.
well, because like how we said, it's the end. So that's not gonna happen. I think connectivity wise, it doesn't connect very well. No, I think like how you said, it does not do what it needs to do in terms of like showing that, hey, I am the same Flash from these previous movies. You know what I mean? Like Iris, maybe you could argue that she's from Zack Snyder's Justice League, but she's in the movie for so short of time, and I don't even know if she brings up what happened or anything. She just says that they knew each other from college or something. That doesn't really give me a lot of incentive that they're connected at all. So the connectivity is very lacking. But I ain't gonna lie, I did like the little bit of world building that they did in the beginning. I always say, in the beginning of every superhero movie, or like any type of superhero movie, I think they should showcase the superheroes chasing a bad guy, doing something, typical superhero shit. Not the way that we got it in the Flash and like MCU style, but they got close to it. You know what I mean? They at least did their best. Like seeing that, Superman can't. Like it would have been nice to have seen his face. Like they fell short on that, but like Superman can't because he's dealing with something else. You know what I mean? But here's Wonder Woman who was available. She came through to help out. Whatever. Batman going after random goons, and the Flash having to come in and help clean it up and shit like that. Like to me, that's classic Justice League shit. So I can't be 100% mad, but at the same time, after the beginning, it's kind of thrown away until we start doing the multiversal stuff. But even then, I don't like the execution of the Chrono Bowl. I didn't like I like like I said, the aspect of the multiverse stuff, but I hated how it was just abruptly stopped at the end of the movie, because it just was a slap in the face. It was just like, well, what was the point of everything that we just went through? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they like at that part, I could say they tried, and who knows, reshoots and all, what the fuck happened that it got lost in the void. But that shit, it had something, but then it completely lost it. 100% lost it. Like, yeah, I feel like it could have been something good, but it just didn't. It didn't deliver. I don't know, any other world building aspects that you didn't like.
Yeah, I think it definitely needed a scene with everybody together. That way to tie it a lot better.
At least,
I don't care. 2-3 minutes. That quick part where Batman asked for help, or at least Barry helped out Batman. That everybody there, that could have been good enough.
Yeah,
but it just fell short.
Yeah, it really did. I felt that shit. What about you, Josh? Any more? Anything else? I know you got a point. I know.
No. Well, I do. It's just not for this topic because I feel like I've touched it all.
Yeah.
I think toward the end, I'm really just gonna give it my final things because a lot of it is circling back now. But
that's when you're gonna dump the clip.
Yeah. But a lot of it is just like, I don't think it was executed well at all. There was no real world building, and what they try to do is word of mouth stuff. So we know Batman's been retired, and there is no Alfred, and then Supergirl exists, and then Zod shows up, but they don't tell you that how any of that works, because in Man of Steel, it's him activating his ship that brings Zod. So you're just like, well, how did they find him? How did they find her? How did they know that she's here or whatever.
Yeah, they said, oh, we could track. They said something about tracking her ship or something in the movie, and I was like, well,
She was
who activated the ship?
yeah.
Was
no
the scientists, or
way to activate it.
they should have explained that a little bit more in detail.
Yes, but but even then, you know what I mean. This is a new timeline. We don't even know what the fuck. You know, we just
Yeah.
we know that there's no Aquaman. We know that there's no Cyborg. We know, which is another thing. They should have been
They totally ignored him.
Yeah.
They totally ignored him in this.
fucking justice for Ray Fisher. Fuck
Yeah, like they showed every other Justice League member, but they refused to show Cyborg. Cyborg was in the middle of that fight where Henry Cavill looked all deformed and everything, punching.
Yeah, he was there. So what the fuck?
It did.
No Wonder Woman. No Wonder Woman there, and there. I don't know. This movie just kind of does poorly at very executing stuff, and then that's why it kind of falls short because you kind of need a world to build upon time travel and multiverse stuff, but even that kind of crumbles beneath everything else, I think. So this movie just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, world building they tried, so I can give it points for trying. Everything else was kind of falling flat because of CGI and everything, and that whole third act was just a clusterfuck of what the fuck am I watching? I was just sitting in the theater like, geez, okay, they're kicking up dust. That little gag, the let's go Barbie, let's go party, whatever. And I was like, they didn't even play the song, dude. Like if they would at least play the song, I'd have been like, okay, at least it led to something. But no, not very good. But action scenes, I know they were all CGI, and I know they didn't really look that great. We get it. But did these action scenes bring anything new to the superhero genre? Did you feel anything different? I mean, he saved babies, for fuck's sake, in the beginning, okay? Put one in the microwave. Show him some respect.
I mean, how small is the baby, or how big is the microwave? What kind of microwave you got?
So
Yeah,
like really, they really made a joke about that, bro.
baby in the microwave.
There was no real standing out action pieces, I don't think. No, unless you count what he does dynamic, but that stands out negatively to me. I was so visibly upset. I was like, there's no fucking way. Not the guy who was tanking trains and shit and had Superman begging for his life. You know what I mean? There's no way. What they did to Fayora,
Had Superman laid out on the floor like,
yeah, dragged him by his cape type shit. There's no way. Like, I really wish Namek would have stepped on his ass. That was just one of my big...
well, he did completely obliterate him with a toss. Let's be real. He grabbed him by the cape end.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted him to march and just stomp on his chest one time.
Damn.
I didn't like what they did with Fayora. I said that already. Disrespectful.
A lot of people say that Batfleck's opening scene was very Batman-y.
It was very Batman-y, but also very distracting because they look good.
I like that, the Ben Affleck's part.
Yeah?
Yeah, I
You
like
enjoy that?
Yeah, of course. Just gotta ignore a little bit. I knew they were gonna do that. I was sort of already expecting it. So
Okay.
yeah, so I like that part.
Very good. What, any other action scenes that popped out to you? Were you like, oh, this is peak cinema action right here, or something entertaining?
Not really. The desert scene at the end was just it had potential, but because of so much chaos going on, Michael Keaton's Batman up in the air taking ships down. I don't know. Regular missiles took down alien ships. You know.
You triggered the wrong button. Without the ending. I think since we're kind of just like talking it out, I really didn't like what they did with Barry Speedy in this one. He got creative. I just didn't like the concept of his like it's like it could deplete, it could empty.
Oh yeah, that was very gaggy.
I didn't like that at all. I was so like, why would, just because he's hungry doesn't mean his powers stop working. It just means he's fucking hungry. You know what I mean? That doesn't equate anything.
It did, and the fucked up part is that they didn't even use that later on. If you noticed, he never was like, "Oh, it's low. I can't run" or anything like that. They only did that one time in the beginning for the gag with the babies, and then it didn't even happen in the third act, not one time. Yeah, my boy was full by the end of the movie. That lightning bolt to the chest really fed him.
Yeah, because it doesn't show any more that he's eating. Young Barry does eat. He's like, "Oh, I'm like, why am I always hungry?" You know, like, but other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can't bring it up in the beginning and just completely ignore it.
Yeah.
most of the time.
And I was just Barry just finally got control of his hunger, like becoming an adult.
Sounds more like diabetes. And like, oh, my sugar levels are low. I need to eat.
because they make it a point in the like. Again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna bring up the show. I've seen it. The show they make it a point that he needs to eat this many carbs, because he passes out,
Yeah.
but he doesn't lose his powers. It's two different things. I didn't like that his suit made his color change, his speed color change.
Oh yeah, that was a very cheap. Well, not really, because they explained it. They explained it because they said that the blue, the reason why it's blue is because he doesn't have a suit to hold that extra conduction or whatever that like emits. That's why the Zack Snyder suit or whatever, like it wasn't built to hold all that energy. Whereas his yellow one is the one that holds all the energy, so it's able to be directed when necessary, and he doesn't disperse more and kill people.
Yeah, but that still doesn't explain the color.
It explained it. Okay, they could. I mean, fuck Josh. He likes yellow. All right,
That doesn't explain. I'm sorry.
That's so tiny. That's so tiny.
I don't care. That's a very big gripe with me. I'm a very avid comic book reader. You can't tell me that all these colors mean something, and then the movie could just be like, "Oh, fuck you, little yellow." Like, no, that's not how that works. Everything needs an explanation.
In the comics, it has an explanation on why the colors are like that.
Yes.
Explain.
Oh, fucking.
Explain. No.
So much
You have to
more.
no. Okay.
Too much more.
Bro. One example. You can give one.
Yellow is the average.
We're gonna go with basic. We're going with basic.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
That's where we gotta start.
Okay.
Yellow is average. That every speedster usually starts out with yellow because that is a very average connection to the Speed Force.
Okay.
Wally West gets trapped in the Speed Force. When he comes out, he has blue lightning because his connection to the Speed Force is much stronger. Reverse Flash has red lightning because he's connected to the negative Speed Force. If he's blue, he's amped up or his connection to the Speed Force is strong.
Oh.
Oh, so there's a code for this.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I was very confused. I'm like, why is he?
Well, okay, they didn't take out the lore. They took away from the lore part or whatever, but they at least explained it within the movie for general audiences to be like, "Hey, yo,
That's me.
yeah." What is your take on the suit? What do you think? Did you think that was dumb that it just changed his color, or
Yeah.
do you feel like they
Yeah,
explained
it just randomly changed, and then young Barry, when he starts running around, he has all this extra energy, and then he just puts his hands together and he's able to shoot it.
He's able to conduct lightning, which I don't even think works exactly.
Static
Because
electricity.
if his suit was specially made to control the heat or whatever he emits, isn't rubber a good conductor? Wouldn't his suit kind of do that already?
That's why his suit's rubber, and that's why it blurts out yellow strips.
No,
They explained this in the movie.
No, I'm talking
that was like one thing that they actually were like real adamant.
no,
like,
I'm talking about young Barry when he wears the Batman suit.
Oh yeah. What about it?
Wait, what does rubber catch fire?
What? Oh, like his suit. Well, no, because he used the padded one, the armored one. So he was able to use that one. I think the rubber on the top of the head should have burnt off. Yeah, maybe the rubber from the helmet, because it was so rubbery you can tell when he took it off. But
Yeah.
But the rest of it was the plated one.
It doesn't make much sense to me. I don't vibe with that.
It's because you refuse to understand. See, I never thought I'd be the one defending the Flash.
It doesn't make sense.
They made it make sense at that point. At least with that one, you gotta at least admit. Can you at least see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At least they explained why. Like, oh yeah, I don't remember the exact verbiage. It was a fucking doohickey to the thingamabob in my head, but he was like the compression of this, whatever, blah blah blah. And then later on in the movie, it actually pays off because they were like, oh yeah, this is stupid. I thought it was dumb as fuck. Him able to emit the lightning like. But at least they were like, okay, so Ezra's gonna help, so he needs to rip off the gloves, and so he ripped off the gloves in order to do that himself. So I like that they at least kept it consistent within the movie, and I can at least defend that part. Yeah, that's right. I never thought I'd be the one defending the Flash.
You know, like it. What the fuck was up with Ben Affleck's suit? Why was it unfinished? Okay, I kind of vibe with the blue and gray, but why was it unfinished? Why was his armor
It was like cloth. Huh?
Yeah,
Why he had like a ballistic armor on?
Yeah, it didn't make sense. Why didn't tactically? Why was it like that? Why was one of them his skirt so short?
We all know.
Why
For the good angle.
Why when they mention Superman, he's supposed to be stopping a volcano from erupting, but he's using heat vision?
Yeah, to make a pit so he can stop it?
Why wouldn't you just use cold breath?
I don't know, man.
I feel like using heat vision is very redundant.
I think he was trying to make like a lava pit, like so it.
I don't think so. It kind of looks like he was burning down a house.
Yeah, you were waiting for that one. Yeah, dude. The action scenes didn't really bring much, regardless.
So we were talking about the end.
That's right. That's what we're talking about. Man.
Stick out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, nothing at all stuck out. But you gotta admit, at least with the suit, they explained it pretty well. But action scenes, yeah, there was nothing too crazy, nothing that I was like, oh, cool. You know what I mean? I was just more like, damn, that shit looks fake. You know what I mean? It's not very done right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gonna lead us to the ending. Okay, so the ending that we were all laughing about. Okay, Keaton sacrificed twice, and it's Sasha Kaye Supergirl's death multiple times. And then the ending where we see that he's an alternate universe with Clooney. None of this made sense to me. In my opinion, this movie just solidified, I talked to you about this before, Josh, but this movie just solidified why Man of Steel was necessary. They wanted, this movie was meant to erase and all the behind the scenes stuff, like the Flash was meant to be the complete redo.
Yeah.
Erase everything from the past, the neck snapping, everything.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they proved that Henry Cavill was necessary. That Man of Steel was a necessary thing because Zod kept killing Supergirl.
Mm.
Every single universe, that universe was going to die. That whole planet was going to die because Supergirl was not strong enough to stop. In that universe, that Man of Steel needed to be there in order to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
Keaton, I don't know what the fuck he was on, bro. That part just was baffling to me. My boy was just like kamikaze, and then at the end of the day, he didn't even do anything. He hit a shield.
Yeah.
He hit a shield. They had that whole scene where he was like no, with all CGI and shit.
Yeah.
And then the Namek thing. Okay, I know some people were like, "Oh, peak Batman. Oh, that's cool. Look what Michael Keaton can do." I thought that shit was stupid because we seen what happens when Namek gets his hands on a person and they pop like a fucking balloon. That shit's crazy. And so him being able to do all that and then yet still being thrown down to be killed at the end of the day, like they explained it fine in the movie. Like, yeah, they're meant to die regardless. But that shit was just solidified the fact that Henry Cavill, Man of Steel, all that shit was necessary to happen. So what was the point of all this?
That shit was funny.
Yeah.
Because even before that, he's like, my missiles aren't doing anything. And then his bright idea was, I'm going to crash into that motherfucker. Like, have me dying because I was just like, what a dummy. And then, yeah, they go back in time and they figure out that this is the spaghetti noodle that's supposed to happen or whatever the fuck they explain it. Yeah, Namek throws him like a fucking rag doll, and then which is funny because even after that, he kind of just kneels down and he's like, I don't have any to me.
He's like, wow, he really threw me hard.
And now he's old.
Yeah, but what do you think about Keaton's and Supergirl's deaths over and over?
I mean, the first death, yeah, it was I did feel sad. I was like, oh, that sucks. You just straight crash into that shit thinking, like, I'm going to take it down. If I'm going down, I'm taking it with me. I'm going by myself.
Somebody's coming with me.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what the heck, And then I was like, oh, wait, we can fix this. We go back, do it again. And then same thing. And so I guess it was just to prove that no matter what, some things have to happen, and which is the precursor to the tomato sauce.
Yeah. My thing that I just kept like thinking about when Keaton crashed, I was like, why did they like? It would have been hilarious, and maybe that's why they just chose not to go that route. But like, why wouldn't he have at least just tried to crash into the Kryptonians? Nothing was gonna happen to them, but I mean, at least why wouldn't he have done that over going straight for the ship with a shield? Like, if he would, and that's what I'm saying. I think it would have been funny, like if you would have just seen him crash into Feora. And then she just kind of walks out like, okay.
That's crazy. That's the thing. Because even like what you were saying about Man of Steel had to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie where they try to replicate scenes from Man of Steel. You know what I mean? Like when Namek jumps, or I know it's Feora that does it in the movie, but when Namek jumps from that explosion, he jumps toward Bat Keaton's ship, and he's trying to like, he hangs on, and he looks goofy as fuck. Like, there's a lot of scenes where you're just like, this looks like they try to rip off Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Doesn't work out.
doesn't work out at all.
I wasn't vibing with half of the stuff pretty much after they announced that that Superman's dead as a baby. I was kind of checked out. I was like, I'm not vibing with half of these decisions. You know what I mean?
He was Homelander in the movie theater.
like Nam. I don't like Namek, him being blown up. I was kind of like Jesus. And then what they did to Fayora, same thing. She was so skilled and he could take her out so quickly. but as fast forward through it all, didn't like Dark Flash again. They could have used someone else. I don't know why they didn't just do all that. Like if you were gonna go the route of using Young and Future Barry, you could have just used Future Barry. Like, you know what I mean? He's a villain in the comics, which is hilarious. Don't get me started there. But you could have used him. You could have used anybody. But you chose to make your own character and have it be
that would have been fine, because I like how they kind of connected it by saying like, oh, it's Kryptonian steel that turned him into a monster like that. Like continuity wise, it makes sense on paper, but execution, nah, it didn't work out. And especially not even showing him multiple times. And then they did one little jump scare where he like dreamed it. It reminded me a lot of like Grey Goblin and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
When Sam Raimi was just like, little jump scare. Yeah. And I was just like, why did he? And I was like, oh, horror movie guy. Yeah, he probably.
That's right. He used his element twice, and that both times look fucking ridiculous. When Sam Raimi does it actually scares the shit out of you. You're like, it doesn't work. And then just wrapping it all up to the ending, Clooney. Why Clooney? What was so appealing? I think I heard somewhere that they tried to call Christian Bale, but he didn't want to be caught dead with this, so it makes sense. But Clooney out of every other Batman, or they could have just used someone new to be like, hey, he's our Batman. You know what I mean?
Or even then, they could have just did like a cut scene of just showing the jacket or something and been like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Like, and teased a new Batman or something, but they just Clooney for a gag.
Yeah, they could have left it like that would have been a perfect to be continued.
Yeah.
Barry just like what the heck is this guy? And not showing the actual face, and that could probably lead on to like, all right, who's gonna be the new Batman?
Yeah.
That leaves it open.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's where like all the rumors were coming out on, that this was like the third ending in obviously a regime swap, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the original ending was supposed to be Batgirl and Keaton at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Or Keaton and Supergirl at the end of the movie. And it was supposed to lead on to Batgirl and whatever. But after Batgirl was scrapped and that didn't fit in the vision, they were like, okay, well, we're going to do one with Henry Cavill, Wonder Woman, and Ezra at the end of the movie. And they were going to set on to next adventures.
Yeah.
That wound up being scrapped because they didn't want to let people think that it was going to go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming James Gunn said, put George Clooney in there as a one thing gag. And it to me, that just hit me like, what the fuck? First of all, he didn't learn anything, like you said. By the end of the movie, there was nothing learned at all because he wound up doing the same thing regardless. Put the tomato can up on top.
Mm-hmm.
At first, it was like a nice gesture during the movie, but once you walk out, you think about it, and you're like, well, he still fucked up the timeline. Mm-hmm. And so that basically happens, right? He winds up not learning shit. We get left with this MCU style cliffhanger. How I mentioned it to you, like Far From Home, you know what I mean, where like it was supposed to be like a goofy what the fuck kind of ending and cut to black kind of shit, and I was like, no, like that doesn't work as a finale. Like the thing is that they didn't even give our characters a glorious finale.
Yeah,
they were just like, oh, it's done, it's a done deal. And so the ending was just like a slap to the face. And I know a lot of people were like, oh, it pays homage to a lot of DC stuff.
Where the fuck?
It did some things with way past stuff. Like if I was an older cat, like maybe in my 50s, I probably would have appreciated most of those cameos. But we didn't see anything from Christian Bale. We didn't see anything from Batfleck besides the beginning. I did like the opening credits, I won't lie, where like they showed all the past Warner Brothers logos and the past DC logos and shit like that. I thought that was pretty clean. But there was a lot of stuff that was just left, and they didn't give us a ceremony to send to this DCEU, and for them to leave it as where it was with Clooney, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's stupid. It was like the dumbest shit for me by the end of the movie. It was a slap to the face.
So it was just so disrespectful.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was pretty dope. Why him out of all the people?
Well, Val Kilmer couldn't do it.
We should have gone Adam West or Nick.
Adam West.
Nicholas.
R.I.P. Adam West. He's not around anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any rumored actors that were gonna be Batman? Why couldn't they do that like they did with Nicolas Cage?
My thing is that even like a fun little nod would have been like, well, even then, like at the end of the day, anybody that they put, unless it was gonna build up to something new, it was pointless.
Yeah.
So if anybody, they could have done that little thing where they did with John Krasinski over there at the MCU and Pat Jensen ankles.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And have him as, live action Batman real quick, or like he's gonna be the live action Batman moving forward or something like that. Like this alternate universe, blah blah blah. They could recast Ezra Miller if they wanted to. It's not a big deal. But they just left it where it was.
I don't know. There was so many other options for an ending where you're just like, this, the best they could do was Clooney. You know what I mean? But I just feel so disrespected about it.
They put him in the same suit and everything as Keaton.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the BTS photos.
Yeah. Like, wait, what happened to my nipples? Like,
I think it was just that a leak where like, it might be Clooney at the end.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe it was just done to get people to go and watch it, see if it's true.
That's what I thought too. But as soon as I heard Clooney, I was like, that sounds like something James Gunn would have put. Like out of anything, like as soon as I heard that, I was just like, yeah, he'd do that shit for sure.
But was a theater full when you went?
no, that shit was empty.
It was empty. Yeah,
That time was empty.
I went to a 9:00 showing. I want to say at least, at most, half of the seats were full.
Oh, half? We only had, I think, I counted, I think there was only a total of like 25 people in ours.
Really?
Yeah, including us. Well, no, including us, it would have been a 27 or 28, if I remember correctly. But yeah, and I think one person left during the movie.
Yeah. People left.
Yeah, 2 people left. They're
Like, I'm out.
yeah, they were just like, fuck this. Eddie Muschietti in the crowd just like,
You're like, oh, please stay. No. Can we talk about the end credit scene then?
the Jason,
Since we're wrapping up.
yeah, Sandy.
Another slap to the face. I think they really made him a drunk. You know what I mean? While people were like, oh, but he's been drinking and this is that. Yeah, but we've never seen him shit-faced. I don't want to see, as nice as it is to see them drink and stuff, I don't want to see my hero shit-faced. That's the big thing. I don't need him to be a clown, you know what I mean? And the fact that his last kind of thing before we see him in Aquaman 2 is this, I don't vibe with this. He's not even supposed to be our Aquaman, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I don't want to see my heroes like that. I don't need to see him shit-faced playing in a puddle saying, oh, I live here, Barry. Like, so disrespectful. This whole movie was just a bad trip for me.
Yeah, Jason Momoa at the end was, I was like, at this point, I was just like, fuck you, man. I'm like, bro, like him and Ezra Miller were the only ones that are like, him, Ezra Miller, and Gal Gadot are the only ones that are like down to do these little quick scenes and then go about their way kind of shit. And I'm just like, man, Aquaman is just allowing himself to just, Jason Momoa is just allowing himself. Like, I get it. He's just probably like, oh, I'm just here to have a fun time and make my money real quick. But like, he just doesn't care. Like, he's just like, wow, well, fuck it. I'm still secure over here. You know what I mean? Because there is rumors that he might be Lobo in DCEU. So, I mean, I don't know. What did you think about the Jason Momoa thing? Did you have anything to think about that?
Here's the funny part. I didn't see it.
Oh, yeah.
I left. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I'll see it on YouTube.
Yeah. I'll catch it later on Twitter, YouTube. I'll catch it. I was wondering why nobody left. I was like, was it that good?
Everybody watching you walk out, fucking loser. You're like a loser, and then meanwhile you were the one who was winning the whole time.
Yeah. I was like, I'm out. But to see him like that,
Could have seen it on YouTube.
yeah. Especially I'm doing him like that, just as a drunk. Yeah, sure. In Justice League, he's drinking a couple times, but not shit faced.
No, it was like cool. It was like, yeah, I'm a badass.
It's like, yeah, he can down a bottle. What a gangster. But then you see him go about his day.
But even if you notice too, in the theatrical cut of the Justice League, like they played him as a clown too, like sitting on the lasso of truths, all that shit. It was like, bro, like you have some decency, some self-respect.
Excited really made him cool, and now everyone just thinks they could just shit on this.
Hey, stop gobbling on his balls.
No, but for real, like he made him cool, and everyone wants to treat him as a joke, and that's not what I want. I don't.
Okay. Speaking of Zack Snyder, I want to bring it up too.
Don't do it.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, stop goggling around his balls. Why don't like what? How did we feel? And we didn't even bring it up during continuity, but how did we feel about that seeing Ezra Miller at the Man of Steel event, saving the little boy? I was more like, why they showed this little boy like if he was gonna be something, but they just kind of threw it away. But how did we feel about it seeing him being in the 2013 Man of Steel?
I thought it was kind of interesting. I kind of like this. Like this is probably maybe the only positive I would give it, but I like the concept of these people were around to see this. You know what I mean? Like I know we don't have Wonder Woman's perspective or Aquaman's perspective, even though you kind of would have it because they were fucking up the ocean. But like we know where Ben Affleck was, his Batman. You know what I mean? He was running toward danger, and in contrast, Barry didn't even want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So I kind of thought it was a fun little thing to see where we know where our heroes are around this era. We just don't have the full league. You know what I mean?
That was, in my opinion, that was the most like strongest tie and like the most like emotional hit point. Like he just wasn't strong enough to like do anything about it, but he wanted to. You know what I mean? And then at the same time, like I don't want to think too far into it, but you know that it kind of goes away if Justice League is basically, you know, canon or whatever, because like, oh, save one person type shit and all whatever. But I don't think about that. I would like push people. I think it was like a good little touch. But what do you think about that connection?
Yeah, it was pretty neat to see where exactly he was at. Yeah, and showing his like I'm learning my powers. I'm not there yet, and it made me realize it when he tried to save the boy and his dad. And if you see in another scene, the dad and the boy are actually together. Yeah. So, and I guess with Supergirl, that whole universe, he was actually able to, or I guess nothing happened to them.
But at the same time, technically, that means that universe's Barry wasn't there to save that kid.
Oh, that's right, because he wasn't even in the lab.
But either which way, like I thought that was like a strong connective thing. I think that's where like one of the times where like the movie shined, in my opinion, and it actually struck a note.
See, I didn't even remember that. So you brought it up because it's buried under so much shit.
Damn, dude. Yeah, after the movie, he was like, I need a Man of Steel cleanse. I gotta go watch Man of Steel.
And I watched Man of Steel, and it all made it better.
So, did we come up with a conclusion on why Batman didn't really, like, he did warn Barry in the beginning. I know we kind of touched upon on it, but did he didn't mention the BVS thing or nothing like that. So was it not canon then? Was that just like a loose thing then, or it just was not canon then?
I imagine it just wasn't canon.
Yeah,
they tried to stray away far from Snyder's vision, so they were just like, this isn't happening.
Just retcon it. Let it happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Got to drop it some points.
It's very dumb that they go to this much length, you know what I mean, where they can actually build character tension, you know? Like, he had fun ideas, but they're just like, this is whack, because it reminds us of the Dark Ages, quote unquote, Dark Ages. So they're all just like, no, we can't involve any of this because we don't want to use it, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they don't address it at all. So that it's basically uncanon.
Non-canon, made non-canon. So yeah, I guess we got to the point, and we're at the point where we're gonna have to start theorizing where things are gonna go next. But before we do that, let's go ahead and wrap up the review. And you know, where did you put this on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
Well, are we on final thoughts first?
Okay, let's have final thoughts. What are you, let's have Ray's final thoughts first.
Ray, go ahead.
Final thoughts. Anything
he's ready.
You gotta have
entertainment wise, it was good. It was entertaining. But with everything we talked about the plot, a little bit of the inconsistencies, how I wanted to see that part, how it connected to the other movies. I say a good 6.5. 6.5. If it had perhaps better action scenes, better action scenes and better CGI, I would have bumped it up to easily 8 or 9.
Okay, fair. I think that's fair. But what do you give it?
This movie I was expecting it to be my bread and butter. This was gonna be like it, you know what I mean? Granted, I thought the same with Black Adam, because I was like, this is gonna really save everything, but couldn't even do that. So there's a lot I didn't like about it. Obviously, I listed a good majority of it. I'm not gonna go back and reiterate, but a lot of it was very disappointing. A lot of it felt damn near disrespectful as a DC fan. A lot of this was just like, oh, we don't really care about all this past stuff. We're trying to move forward. You know what I mean? That's kind of what this movie felt like for me, leaving the theater and all that. It's why I felt so down and, you know, upset when we left the theater. Everything I don't like about it, even if, like you said, there's little nuggets, but those little nuggets are also covered in shit. So you're kind of just like, well, this is useless. Again, wasn't vibing with a lot of it. Most of the cast would do the thing. Ezra did. I still like Sasha. This movie is, it's not, to me, it would have been more entertaining, but it's such a slap in the face. I give it about like I don't even know what to give it. That's the thing. Because it's less than average to me. I got to give it.
Well, average is a 5, so.
That's why, less than average. I give decent movies average, you know what I mean? Like, I gave Across the Spider-Verse a 10. You know what I mean?
That was his first 10.
Yeah. and like when we talk about average movies, I give it that average number. This is below average. This isn't a 5. This isn't even a 4.
Oh,
This movie is a 2.5 out of 10.
Jesus, guys.
Even with the positives, like, even if I could just acknowledge everything bad and be like, Ezra carries the fuck out of this movie, putting all that weight in his back hurts. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It is just not a good experience for me, and damn near doesn't make me excited for anything new.
Now, doesn't that just break your heart?
that's why. That's why he's a bigger fan than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I visibly see his pain.
You know what I mean? Because I know we'll wrap it up and all that, but like, I have been an avid DC fan for a while, more than the MCU probably. Yes, the MCU has me checked out at the moment, but DC, I felt very like, oh, this next one's gonna be the hit to set it off. You know what I mean?
Black Adam,
and then I was disappointed with Shazam. I was excited for the Flash.
You didn't really have high hopes for Shazam, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Black Adam set the bar, and I was like, well, now I can't really look forward to anything else. But I was like very rooting for this franchise, and now with the Flash kind of cementing that slap in the face, it hurts. I'm just like, man, I can't vibe with this stuff anymore. So I'm kind of just like, damn, my franchise let me down.
It just pains you.
Yeah,
It pains you.
all I have are the books now. So I'm
His morning.
keep reading those.
Audiobooks. Yeah, this movie, it didn't meet expectations, though. My expectations for this movie was pretty low. Actually, I won't lie. It did what I thought it was gonna do, and it was just gonna be entertaining. I think that's what they were aiming for, is entertainment. Even though the CGI was trash, everything, they did try spectacle. They tried to do it, what the Flash does in, the animation and stuff like that, in cartoons or whatever. So I can kind of see where Andy Muschietti was going for. Execution probably wasn't done well. I know it wasn't done well, depending on people's POV, because I see motherfuckers giving this movie a 9, 10. I'm like, I don't know about that one. Fucking laid waste to actual good villains, in my opinion. They, arguably the best villains of the DCEU, honestly. They really just completely snuffed their reputation for whatever reason. That's why I say, like, after Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's where their story ends until we see something different. That's where I think it ends. But if I gotta rate this movie for what it had to offer me, I'd give it like a, I don't know. I feel like I'm being tugged on both sides. I'd give it a 4.5. I think I'd leave it. I think that's fair. It wasn't an average movie. It wasn't. It was below average. CGI, everything. Story-wise, it was all over the place. The ending just completely derails everything. It doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of questions within the movie, like, why is Barry, who can go back at any point in time, worried about the tomato can where you can easily go back in time and been there when somebody came to kill your mom and been like, I know who it is, and then go back to the future and get the guy who did it. You know what I'm saying?
I thought he was going to kill his mom. I thought he was going to be the one to kill his mom. Because when he figures out, like, no matter what, when she's gone, no matter what, that has to happen in order for him to happen. I got to be the Flash.
That's another thing that they try to avoid from the comic. Because, again, the mom has to die, but they don't want to address that. They'd rather it be that his dad just has to be there so it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So they changed that whole aspect.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions that weren't answered by the end of this movie, so I got to give it a 4.5. There's no way that they put out this movie and was like, this is the movie. This is the movie. This is it. That there's probably a good movie that got lost in translation because of everything that happened. Because even Eddie Muschietti said like he has 4 hours worth of film, and that's because of reshoots. That's because of different variations of the movie that it had to go through. By the end of it, we got this botched up mess. The Flash legacy has finally crapped itself and died because let's be honest, the CW didn't do anybody any favors by the ending. Everybody thought it was going to be a ceremonious end for the Flash over there too. Did not happen. And then now here with this Flash, no ceremonious end for none of the DCEU characters, nor for the Flash himself. So by the end of it, we just see, who the fuck is this? And a tooth falls out of his mouth.
Oh God, man, this movie makes me so fucking angry because it just takes a shit on everything I love.
Very MCU style.
Don't give Andy Muschietti a Batman movie. That's the end takeaway.
Slow down there, Tiger. Slow down.
No, tired of this shit.
Chill, dude. Chill.
I'm like, hey, I'm so angry. You guys ignited the flame that was there so long ago. I waited all week for this shit, and now it's here. I fucking hate this movie.
This is gonna be therapeutic for you.
Yeah.
I know. I know we got more, but holy shit, this first hour, almost 2 hours is gonna be a pain because like I make it avid not to shit on things. You know what I mean? Like even my harshest score, I try to find the nicest things. But this movie didn't have any nice things because it's shit on everything I love. So I'm gonna take a shit on this movie. Like you hear the rankings we give.
Yeah.
Like who's the more harsh one? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Who is the more harsh?
You.
What?
No, I say he's a little more.
I feel like you're the. I feel like I'm more optimistic than you.
Like if he's, and then that means the other times he's being nice.
That's your nicest?
I give average movies their average rating. Okay, if
Let me know out there, guys. I didn't know if I'm the harsh one. I don't think
like,
so, but
I think so. I think you find a lot more things wrong with movies.
yeah, I nitpick a lot. Yeah,
But
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah,
and like that's what I'm saying. Like I try to be more optimistic. I try to find these movies and give them more gems. Like I didn't want to shit on the Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid was ass. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you gave me no choice.
I'm just so upset about this movie and how it ruins everything I love. So I can't be positive toward it, even though I usually like give things a chance. You know what I mean? Like this movie just shit the bed, and I'm very upset.
Fuck, man. Well, that's insane. There you go, Flash review. But we're not done yet. We still got more to cover because now we got to theorize.
Yes.
Wonder where this is gonna go. Now, you, Ray, as our guest, I got it.
That's gonna be my username now.
I got it. You being our guest. Where do you think this DC, or let's say first, DCEU movie, best DCEU movie that you like, and a scene that you could rewatch again from the DCEU, any movie, it doesn't matter.
I think the main one, Man of Steel, when he fights Zod.
Okay.
Yeah, clean. Even though, I mean, you guys did mention that the VFX are a little funky, but I still enjoyed it. That's where you ignore all that because obviously they're showing a whole city.
Yeah.
They're fighting in the air, but
I think the CGI in that movie, he did it to the point where like, yeah, some stuff looks cartoony, but it's not. It doesn't look like the Flash. You know, it doesn't look like it looks like somebody fried. Still
holds up.
Yeah,
I think
it being a 2013 film. So Man of Steel would be your favorite DC movie, and that favorite scene would have to be Zod. What about you, Josh?
Favorite DCU movie, still Man of Steel. I think we'll do another ranking eventually. It's still Man of Steel. The scene that I rewatch all the time is from Man of Steel too. It's his first flight. I find that whole sequence is just motivational and beautiful. You know what I mean? That one and when he's heading toward the fucking what's it called? The World Engine. Those two scenes. There's a lot more, but those two I'm gonna give off.
Okay. I know it's like, I don't want to make it sound like it's new movie syndrome because it's not, but my favorite scene is like from Zack Snyder's Justice League. It has to be the Flash scene where he's running to reverse time after the fucking cube goes off.
Oh yeah.
And like the bonus has to be when Superman comes in and fucking whoops the shit out of Steppenwolf. Like that shit, that not impressed, and he just blows that axe and just fucking pause. And then like, you know, it freezes and he breaks it and then it just like completely like whoops the shit out of him. Like does not give a fuck. Like he just mercilessly just beats the shit out of him. And I'm just like, damn, let him get up. Let him get up.
Let him fight back, dude.
But I think if I could rewatch the scene again, it has to be that Flash scene. Like that scene is so beautiful. That music still takes you away. I like that whole scene is just chef's kiss. The best DCEU movie has to be.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
If it's canon, I don't know. Really, if it's not canon, I guess to make it within DCEU, I would have to give it to like the Doomsday versus Wonder Woman, the trio, the Trinity versus Doomsday. Actually, the one that's clean.
The Batman's warehouse scene is another good one.
That's a good one. Honorable mentions.
Oh, the scene in Wonder Woman where
Post Snyder. What's your favorite?
son of a
Post Snyder.
Post Snyder
Favorite DCU movie? Post Snyder.
son of a bitch.
Anything post Snyder?
It's probably Aquaman or the first Shazam would probably be it.
And scenes, action scene.
Aquaman versus Black Manta. That's a good one.
Okay. That is a good one. I thought you were gonna say that one take scene where the queen is like fighting all.
That's another good one. I like that one too. But I think my favorite would probably be the Black Manta one, and that would probably be it.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think? Post Snyder, do you think? Oh, do you have any DCU movies besides that? Aquaman, Shazam, what Suicide Squad? The Suicide James Gunn Suicide Squad?
Nah.
You didn't see that one?
No.
Good. Don't waste time.
Oh man, nah, don't be that bad. I'd say give it a watch. It's worth.
I'll give it a watch.
Did you watch Black Adam?
Black Adam, yeah.
Did you enjoy Black Adam?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Same thing. Feels rushed.
Yeah.
Feels rushed. How they're trying to get them to be cool, you know? Like, oh, say this when you do this. So, like, when you attack someone, say
Very MCU.
Yeah, that felt weird, but I like that movie.
Damn, for me, I'm trying to think too. Let me think. I gotta say, I mean, post Snyder, there's not really a lot, but if I gotta give it to one, I would have to say one that tried to do things different and really like paved the way was, even though I don't like the direction they took her, was Birds of Prey. I gotta say that one.
Mm-hmm.
I think as much shit as it given, and I can't really watch it too often. I mean, I think they had the right idea, and I give it to them for trying, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like the rest of the movie, like Shazam was good and all that stuff, and I guess an action scene outside of Snyder's, I think the only one I could really think is good has to be that one shot from Aquaman. Has to be. I can't really think of. There's no other DCU movie that's like, pow, there it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, because a lot of them I feel are just they're either cheap imitations of the MCU, you know what I mean, or they're cheap imitations of what Snyder tried to do. Because even Black Adam is a offender, you know.
I'd say the scene in the Suicide Squad where they're in the rain and the shark like rips open the dude and something like that. I would say that scene is pretty clean. I mean, you gotta give it to it where the given's good, I guess. I don't know. Can you think of anything, or are you drawing a blank? Drawing a blank. All right. If you think of something, like, you know,
Action scene, or like scene in total.
if you got it, because I like favorite DCU scene.
I like that boardroom scene with all the what are they called? The demons or whatever. In the first Shazam. I like that one.
Oh, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Bloody, gory, very. That movie was so inconsistent. It was like crazy. It was like, oh, it's a family superhero movie, and then here's motherfuckers getting ate. You know what I mean? Like, here it is.
Like, it throws his dad out the window.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Is there like, how's a good way to put it? Do you think? Because I did say earlier that The Flash potentially is the last movie, but who knows between Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 that's coming out. Do you think that The Flash is ending it all? Or do you think Aquaman 2 is going to be bunched up with the rest of them and with Blue Beetle?
I think The Flash, I think it's probably the end. I think The Flash might be the end because James Gunn I know he says a lot, but he also does backtrack, so he says a lot. But I think Blue Beetle might be roped in. because that one's probably going to suffer from the Flash, you know. But they said they made avid changes to Aquaman 2. So I think Aquaman 2 might be part of the DCEU.
You think that's where we'll get like an ending tease or something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
But if not, this movie is a terrible way to end.
What about you? What do you think? Do you? I know you don't know a lot of the behind the scenes. I mean, James Gunn is gonna have his own way.
Yeah.
Do you think this one is gonna be the end? You think this one is the end, or do you think Aquaman 2 and Blue Beetle is gonna be bunched up?
Well, I'm saying this one's gonna be the end.
That's it.
Yeah. It feels like Blue Beetle's gonna be more of its own. If not, they're probably just gonna add someone in the end, just like Clooney. Like just like, oh yeah, we gotta connect it.
That's the fascist Batman.
Had a bad credit card.
He did. He did have a credit card, back card. That shit's so crazy that they did that. Are you excited for Blue Beetle? Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna watch it. And
Is it? Let me ask you. Be honest. Is it a theater movie or is it a streaming movie for you?
if I got the time, I'll go I'll go watch it in the theater. But
You ain't got you ain't got to be like theaters. If you feel like it's a streaming movie, you could say like that's it.
if I got the time, I'll probably go watch it just to have that theater experience. You know,
To make sure there's more chicos in the cinemas. You know?
Yeah, because I guess it's just that fear of like, oh, maybe there's something good in it.
Yeah.
And if you don't go watch it in the theaters, you're not gonna know about it till it comes out on streaming.
It's true too.
I might have that going for it. Might.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do you feel the same way for Aquaman too?
Yeah, definitely. Aquaman for sure. I'll go watch it in the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, very brave soul. What about you? Are you looking forward for Blue Beetle, Aquaman 2?
It used to be, but no. Now it's very apparent that these movies are just not for me anymore. And I know we're gonna go see them in theaters because we have a job to do, but I don't think I'm expecting anything out of these.
We were gonna have a long conversation about that. I don't know. It sounds like to me the way these movies are going, because even with the Flash too, it sounds to me like this one's gonna go to streaming pretty soon. You know what I mean? Like it's only gonna be in there for like a month because of how bad it's doing at the box office. There's no money to pump into it to have it stay longer. You know what I mean? So it's gonna get pulled. It's gonna be on streaming pretty soon, and I think that's where a lot of its traction is gonna get picked up. Like there's gonna be like, oh, Flash is number one on streaming or whatever, and that's only because people want to see what the fuck everybody was talking about, and they were just too scared to pay $7, $10 for a ticket. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, if what do you call it? If a trailer comes out and it really hypes me up, but as of right now, I don't know about those two movies, and I wouldn't mind we'll probably review other movies. if those are straight to streaming, if those are going to be straight to streaming, especially hearing everything that's happening with Aquaman 2, all the reshoots, everything like that, like it's basically getting the Flash treatment, in my opinion. So you know, you didn't know that when you gave your opinion, but you still have a chance to change it.
It comes out in December.
It's good to start with low expectations.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if they have money for marketing, you'll probably see a trailer at one point, and then you'll probably be able to figure out what you're gonna do with that one.
I don't know, because I really like the first Aquaman, and I like the first Shazam. And then the sequels have just been shit. That's not fair.
I wonder if the directors are just like roped in through all this. Because if there would have been like multiple reshoots because of the regime change and all that stuff, I would have been like, if I was Andy Muschietti, I would have been like, I don't want this Frankenstein monster to be mine. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? As much as I like this character, I don't want to be the one to birth this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think that's a thing?
I'm sure they're roped in. It's contract bullshit.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
like once they sign on, they have to deal with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like it's too much to bail. You know what I mean? The Flash movie has had like 4 directors already. You know, before it got to Andy Muschietti. So it's 6. Yeah, no one wanted to touch this shit.
oh well,
Like no one wanted to touch it throughout. It's like 10 years in the making. But like it's very showing that I'm sure by the end they were like, dude, we need someone to wrap this up, and then he was just the guy. You know what I mean?
Well, they did have somebody, Rick Fuyama, but when Zach departed, all of Zach's lineup, like the directors he had some lined up to make the movies, they all departed too. They were like, yeah, no, Warner Brothers is going different with this shit. I'm not dealing with it. So Yeah.
Smart people.
Yeah. They jumped ship. They knew better. Even Sam Raimi was approached to do this movie too at one point. So that's hilarious. That's funny. Anyway, he wound up doing a multiversal movie. Anyways, what do you guys think about the Justice League? And do you guys think that we're gonna get a recasting within this new DCU?
I think so. It would have to start all over again. I feel like it would have to recast everyone, redo everything, especially how everything has changed right now. But it's not gonna be the same. They gotta really push the plot for people to ignore the fact that it's not the original people.
That's true too. That is true. What do you?
I like this lineup. I like this fucking lineup.
Yeah.
It's very classic stuff. You know, we would have had. Think about it. We had the core, right? So we had Superman, Batman, The Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. We would have had Martian Manhunter. We would have had a Green Lantern. We would have had Shazam. You know, and who knows where that would have taken us post. You know, if Snyder got his little universe. Now I'm kind of not interested in the new Justice League. I really don't care for this lineup, you know, whatever his lineup is, because he's basing it off the cartoons, you know, and the cartoons had a big ass Justice League, and you're kind of not only seeing on a timetable to kind of wrap things up, but he's also trying to implement people like Mr. Terrific. And if you don't know who Mr. Terrific is, he was in the cartoon, he's in the comics, but he's not a big name, you know. So I don't know if I'm interested in his Justice League.
Yeah. Obviously, he's gonna have his own Justice League. I think it was self-explanatory on you, but I keep thinking, like, who can take up these roles, and nothing comes to mind. And I don't know if that's because I'm just so used to, and I love these characters and these actors for this role, or is it like I'm just too selfish and still can't let it go? Because kind of like how you said, the ending of the Flash didn't really. It was supposed to be a let go and move on type shit, but it didn't feel like let go, something better's in the horizon. It was more like, let go, motherfucker. Like, we're done making these fucking movies already. You know what I mean? We're not doing this route no more. Like, we're gonna completely
That's what I was telling you. Like, if they would have taken the Flash and they would have give these characters a perfect send off into the sunset, it probably would have raised the score for me. It would have been a better ending, but no, Toothless Barry and Clooney. So it doesn't work. I'm not like, call me a Snyder fan all you want, but I'm just not interested right now in James Gunn's Justice League.
Bringing that up, that was a gripe I had with the movie too. I hated that, like, they took the serious ass scene where, like, Barry's getting his powers and the Barry #1 is losing his powers. And they add a fucking gag of a tooth falling out just so they can redo that shit at the end of the fucking movie. That gag was so stupid, bro. Like, and they made it play out like a powerful scene in the trailer, and then, like, they're just gonna undercut it like that. That shit didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it was way left field. Or it was just dumb. Yeah.
Missing a tooth.
Missing a tooth, and hits super glue and puts it back on.
Yeah, no.
And it stays on the whole time. It doesn't wobble or anything.
Super glued it. Oh, dude, even that one scene where, like, he's about to run and he's running in circles because he's powerless. I'm like, y'all doubling down on his running, but you're making fun of it at the same time, and you want us to take him seriously. I'm like,
but yeah, no, I just can't be invested in his Justice League. Not until I see what we're coming up with, because I kind of enjoyed what we had before, as undefined as it was.
So, and you kind of gave us a little bit before on this question. So, I mean, if you have more to add on it, that's fine. But Ray, Andy Muschietti has given the keys to Batman the Brave and the Bold, the new DCEU Batman, a movie within his universe, his take on Batman. Andy Muschietti will be the director. Should he be given these keys, and will you watch a movie of the Batman from him?
I don't think so. He's already left a bad taste, you know?
Yeah, with the Flash?
Yeah, with the Flash. Especially, is he going to continue with Clooney? That's
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think that was just a gag.
I think once
it better be a gag.
I think, like, again, just going through what the movie said and going by my own knowledge, Barry is now in a timeline where Clooney is Batman. So we're probably not. That's not our main DC universe. No.
All right.
Yeah, I think they just dumped Ezra off in a fucking random ass universe.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there he goes.
Yeah, so that means he has to go back and find his own timeline. So that could be a whole movie too. I guess, but
Too, that's never gonna happen.
But Batman is a whole thing. I feel like they pump out Batmans just to get some extra money because Batman movies.
No, man, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Look at the comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
How irritating that shit is. I'm tired of Batman.
There's so many comic book runs where it's just Batman. You're just like, man, like what the fuck is going on?
It's all about a rich guy.
Yeah,
Like,
he's relatable.
did you see the Batman 2022 by Matt Reeves? Did you see that one?
The one with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
I didn't get through it.
Edward.
I couldn't get through it. I don't know. I mean, it was sort of more realistic in a way. The way
where he can tank a bus.
yeah. I mean, there's certain things like he has an actual car
Yeah.
instead of like this super high tech kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
And where that thing that everybody brings up is that they actually show him with the eyeliner. It feels a little more realistic, but I just couldn't get through the movie.
He had eyeliner.
Oh, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was one scene that I seen where it was the ending where like he did have eyeliner and then they cut away and like when he's taking his mask off.
Yeah, that's something that they never address in all the other movies. They do wear eyeliner. This is the only one where it's all smeared.
Yeah. And they were like, ooh, it's edgy.
Yeah.
Edgy Batman.
Edgy Batman. But not too edgy. Don't let him use a gun. Meanwhile, Keaton was throwing people down with bombs,
Yeah.
making goofy ass face. He fucking he burned these guys with the back.
Hey, he set people on fire. Keaton's a murderer, and y'all were fucking.
As long as it didn't get shot with a gun, it's okay. Just a flamethrower is okay.
It was an indirect thing. He didn't mean to burn those guys with the Batmobile. He didn't mean to blow that dude up with the bomb and throw him down a fucking window. I don't know. It is what it is with that one. That shit's crazy to me. Yeah, dude. Fucking the new DCU is gonna be weird. Whack. I want to get a general audience perspective on this one for like, James Gunn. You haven't seen his Suicide Squad, so you don't know what he can do with DC.
No.
Right? Correct. So how do you think he's gonna handle DC and the DCU? I guess judging by his work with Guardians of the Galaxy, you've seen those?
Yeah.
Judging by that work, let's. What do you expect from his DCU?
I hope he can tap into his darker side because that's what the whole DC is, a bit darker. But to see them goofy, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy was the one that set pretty much the template for MCU movies, mixing a little bit of comedy with seriousness and all that. I don't know if it's gonna exactly fit with DC.
You don't see him being able to deliver these characters. No.
I mean, no. I mean, I will still watch. That's the thing. That's the thing is the hopefulness. It will have me coming back.
Okay.
But let's just hope it can continue or at least keep on advancing.
All right, Josh, you've seen the Suicide Squad. You've seen.
I didn't even ask.
We talked about it before, but I mean, just so you can get your take. And on top of it, listen, calm down. But on top of that, since you know a little bit more, if you don't see him at his DCU at doing good, what is like a solo project you would think he'd be able to direct besides Superman? Like if you would have to give him a movie, what would you give?
Okay. So no, I don't. I know he says he'll do more. He'll do more of the fantasy side of the DC, like all that stuff, which is cool. Until I see it, I doubt it. But I don't think he's gonna handle DC very well. And for him to start with his formula, the way he does things, and for him to start off with someone as mainstream as Superman, I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna do. I can't see it. Unfortunately, I do have my doubts with that one. Like I think when he chose someone, like when he chose the Elite or whatever that team is he's trying to do, like in Superman, perfect team. I don't know who the fuck they are. Like go ahead, you know what I mean? But I don't know how he's gonna do with the grander scheme of things. He says he has it mapped out. Cool for him, but I'm still very skeptical, especially after these couple movies. You know what I mean? I know they're not his technically, quote unquote, but it's such a bad way to handle things over here if I had to give him a movie, I'd give him a character just so he can play the goofiness and give him, and make him obscure enough for general audience to be like, this is a nice change. I'd give him Booster Gold. Booster Gold would probably be his golden ticket. You know what I mean? Where I can see he can do enough changes to that man for mainstream audiences to vibe with him. At the same time, a lot of his goofiness will hit there too. Like if he did a Blue Beetle, like a Ted Kord and Booster Gold movie, $1 billion right
I
there.
think a Plastic Man movie.
Plastic Man movie could be good too.
I think he could do a Plastic Man movie, 100%.
I mean, just the key thing.
Yeah,
The key thing with his finger.
yeah. I think he would be able to do something like that for sure. If James Gunn, if I had to give him a movie, it'd probably be something like that.
Yeah.
That's still up in the air. Like I said, me knowing what I know about James Gunn, me personally, what I know about him, the behind the scenes stuff, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Right now he's lost me. I don't think he has what it takes until I see something, a trailer, something. It could bring me back. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% out of this DC space. I just want to, I'm just tired of shit movies. Like I don't want these. No, you're excited for Black Adam and stuff like that, but I'm not excited for. I'm not excited for these movies or this lineup of movies that we had so far. So, and then the way me knowing that he had a hand in like the endings of Shazam, and now obviously his hand in the Flash, like I don't know, it just feels like he's taking this Twitter thing too personally. He's translating it into the movies too much, and I feel like it's gonna be a big old fuck you because, like I told you before, there's a dude on Twitter that really got under his skin, and that's why he announced the Mr. Terrific. You know what I mean? Like. That's a weird part for me, like there shouldn't be a weird retaliation on people on Twitter. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, his work practices aren't really looking too good for me. So I think that's where I just think that he's not going to cut it. But, who knows if they're even going to have the money to even show this universe with the way, the Flash numbers are going and how Aquaman and stuff. I think they would save more money if they just put Blue Beetle on Aquaman straight to streaming. They'll probably save more money. They'll probably make money off streaming, whatever they can scrape together. You know what I mean? And call it a day. Save that up to hopefully finance whatever they can give for Superman Legacy. I don't even know how much they're going to put towards that movie. Can't be a $200 million movie. It has to be like 100 to 150 mil. I don't think they'll give him a 200 anymore. That shit's way. Nah.
They're like, I need 200 mil. They're gonna be like, from where?
Zaslav is like my guy. You were supposed to fill them up. Come on now.
Throws a piggy bank at him, make that work.
So that leads us here. We're at the end. We're here at the end of the DCEU, soon to be reborn as a DCU, with everything that we know, with the way the Flash left us. Okay. I have to say us because we're in this together.
I might tear up. This is not good. I am not coping well. Like, this is not good.
It's grim.
Yeah, very like if you guys can see, there's a bunch of thunderclouds over Josh's head right now. With that in mind, with everything that we feel, I don't have to ask you this question, but I want you to answer anyway, Josh. After Ray, are we excited for the future of DC? If you are a DC fan, or if you've been shaken, are you excited for what's to come next, knowing what you know?
Excited, not exactly. Curious, yes. Okay. It's more of a curiosity where they're gonna take everything from here. I'm pretty sure recasts for sure, remakes more than likely. I'm pretty sure, but I'm curious. Am I gonna pay to go watch them? It's gonna be here and there. It's gonna be here and there, but it's grim. It's depressing because the MCU has cast a huge shadow, or it's set the bar pretty high for a lot of people, and they're trying to keep up with their projects. And I do want to see the DCEU flourish. Mm-hmm. We all know we want to see it flourish. We want to see some competition over here.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see, and it's just
at one point it was like that. I remember when Man of Steel and BVS was coming out. Like I said before, like they were like, oh yeah, look how practical they're using. You know what I mean? They made Batfleck a full suit. Well, Iron Man CGI. Oh, look how much money this one's making. It was like that, and then started shooting the bed and slowly just died. Just and now we're here.
Yeah, at that point, I was excited.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, excited. Zack Snyder's Justice League, excited.
I always say, man, BVS's opening, bro, is the most iconic opening, bro. Seeing Bruce Wayne's POV through the Black Zero event from Man of Steel, seeing him run into danger, seeing him look up to the sky and seeing Superman bringing down General Zod, and him just having this hatred for killing all his employees and all these people and stuff like that. Like, that shit is so complex, so chilling. Like, it's great. And we went for something like that to saving babies, having Wonder Woman save you with the lasso, and then you at the end of all that saying, I know what sex is, but I've never felt it before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we've dropped in so low, you know what I mean? Same thing with Marvel. I think we're at a weird part with Marvel too.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation altogether. But Josh, like I said, your physical expression says it all, but the audience can't see it. So are you excited for what's to come? I know you're skeptical about James Gunn, but it's something about DC giving you a little bit of hope that you might get something good one day.
I used to be very excited about this stuff. Again, you guys can track it all the way a little bit past October. You can track it. I was excited for Black Adam. I was very much like avid for that one. And then Shazam happened, and I was like, well, I'm not a big fan of the Shazam, but the Flash it's my golden ticket. That is my golden goose. That's gonna lay work for everything. Now, not so much. Now I'm just like I either need Blue Beetle to set the pace and exceed my expectations, or I need Aquaman 2 to really just save me. You know what I mean? Because I did like the first one, and I really like James Wan.
Amber Turds and Aquaman 2.
I liked her. I'll take. I kind of liked her in the first one. I think I thought she was kind of hot. So, like, I think her as Mara is kind of just perfect fit. She doesn't have to say anything.
She just got to leave ocean shit.
But I don't know. I used to be very excited, and now I'm kind of like, well, we'll see how Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2 go. And then I've said it before about James Gunn's DCEU. It's more curiosity than excitement. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that curiosity can spark into excitement. Like, ooh, now I'm very excited about to see where this goes, you know? But now it's just like, I want to see how he handles things from a curiosity standpoint. Because I'm not interested in the Creature Commandos, and his movie doesn't come out a year till after that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because honestly, I said the Suicide Squad, but we also gotta take. You ever seen Peacemaker?
No. It didn't really. That one didn't really catch my attention.
See, and isn't that a problem? You know what I mean? I don't know if it's like DC itself being the issue, where like people, you know, aren't seeing these movies because like, hey, I don't want to waste my time with this. I don't want to watch this. It's not connected to anything. Or is it literally because like they're disinterested? Because Peacemaker at one point people were saying it was the #1 show on HBO Max or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But yet I can tell you right now, I've asked most people, I don't know anybody who's watched Peacemaker at all. I think I know people who watched the beginning and they were like, this is not for me. But I'd never seen anybody like actually say, I finished the whole thing. I had to push you, Josh, to finish the whhole fucking thing. I don't even know if you did it. You probably lied to me.
I did it. I didn't like it. I did it.
I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
I'll give it a try just for that. Is it the show or?
It's a show.
No, where there's a bit of a cameo of the whole Justice League.
Oh yeah, that's the show. Yeah, that's at the very end.
Just for that. I'll watch it just for that.
Okay.
DC has been doing my heroes dirty since Shazam. Fuck. Endless cameos. Chests.
Zachary Levi said it, okay? Zachary Levi said he wanted...
I don't give two damn about what Zachary Levi says. He follows bad people on Twitter. Like, it doesn't work. They've been doing my man dirty. The Rock gave me Superman one time, and for there, he's kind of earned some savory points. But other than that, they have been giving them headless cameos. They said Superman likes to play with shit or whatever the fuck they said. They said Aquaman fucks fish. Fuck that. Respectfully.
Superman has a foot fetish.
Yeah, whatever the fuck they said. They said something about Batmite. They have been doing them dirty since, because Hamada is a bitch. And James Gunn, although he wrote them, and I'm not trying to rope him in and anything, he wrote them. I don't vibe with that either. Aquaman fucks fish, really? He fucks fish. Oh, the fact that you reminded me about this fucking show, man. A lot of these shows and these movies aren't my cup of tea, but I'm very curious about where they go.
Okay, not excitement, but curiosity.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say curiosity is the best way to sum it up. I think that it's going to take a lot for me to come back. I know for a fact I'm probably not going to be excited for Creature Commandos. I know I'm not excited for Creature Commandos. And Superman Legacy, they got to really wow me with the casting because honestly, I can't think of anybody else but Cavill himself who can do Superman. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to see. And if anybody doesn't even come close, it's going to be hard to watch that film.
The DC fans are going to be at war again on Twitter. I'll be on the front line.
Because remember, the real first DCU character is Blue Beetle, but the real movie is going to be with Superman. So whatever. It's
However that works.
Yeah.
However that works.
With that, let's start wrapping it up. I think, Ray, one thing that I didn't let you do last time, but I'm going to allow you this time. Is there anything you feel like you missed? Any questions you want to ask? Anything that you probably didn't understand in the Flash movie that we can explain to you? Any gripes that was left unturned?
It's just, it's a whole disappointment. It's from what I was saying earlier. I want this to flourish. That's all that's all I want. I want to see it become a competition for the MCU, and that will also push them to come up with bigger and better things.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So because it seems like you have a hard time remembering all of the DCEU movies.
Oh yes.
Did you watch them all? Did you skip them? What was the movie that stopped you from watching these movies? What was the last movie you probably saw before you had to watch it for the podcast?
Well, I've been trying to keep up. So the latest movie was Shazam 2.
Okay, so
I watched Black Adam, Shazam. The first one I watched Justice League, the first really short one.
Yeah, the theatrical one.
Yeah. I saw that one. Wonder Woman, both Wonder Woman movies.
So you've seen them before. You just don't watch them often to remember them.
Look, they're one and done. So.
Yeah. It's because of the lack of continuity or lack of connection with the movies. Is that it? I'll watch it and all right, I don't have to remember anything from this movie to help me connect it to the next movie.
Okay. So did you like the first three, like Man of Steel, BVS, Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder's Justice League? Let's say that one too because that one connects to those.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy those really well? Because you said Man of Steel is your favorite with the fight.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy those more than what they were giving you after the fight? Or
with the newer ones, it feels like they're trying really hard to, how do you say, connect with the people. I don't know, trying to be hip, trying to be cool, in a way, trying to be with the times, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know. I just can't connect to them. But all those, I loved every single one of them. I know for sure the first Wonder Woman, I went to theaters to watch it.
Okay.
The second one I rented.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I rented most of these.
yeah.
I'm still willing to pay. That's what I'm trying to say. Not wait till it comes out to streaming, but those I think were the top tier ones.
Yes, sir. So is that it? Or Josh, what about you? Any final thoughts? Anything that you feel like you didn't get to say? Anything you want to wish James Gunn good luck? You want to tell people to go watch The Flash today? It's in your local theater.
Don't see The Flash. Don't see The Flash. Take this review and run. Just know that it pisses me off, and some were satisfied with it. Just
They gotta watch it though.
$15 a month. Don't waste $20 on this movie because I'm sure you're gonna get snacks and come by with that ticket. But don't watch this movie. I don't recommend it to my worst enemy.
My worst enemy.
if I would recommend you not see Justice League.
You get wrapped up in the gulag over there in Russia. They're like, no, don't waterboard me. Waterboard. We show you Flash.
We're showing you the baby scene over again.
Isn't it funny how you put baby in the microwave?
In Soviet Russia.
Look at Keaton. Look at Keaton move.
Is he
Just like Batman? Just like the 89 Batman.
Oh shit. Oh man, you're like the Russians, man.
I know. It's okay. They're too busy fighting somewhere else. Anyways, with that being said, man, Ray, thank you for coming back on as our guest. It's a blast having you.
I thought you were gonna be like, nah, when we had you on, it was trash.
Nah. That text message changed after people started asking. I'm playing with you. We love to have you on anytime you want to be on. Anytime you got a movie that you want to review, something that you feel like you want to talk about, something that you're invested in. Anytime, hit us up. There's always a spot for you.
It always feels like we're giving you the stuff to research.
So, Ed, whenever you want, there's an open door here for you. With that being said, though, if there's anything we missed on here, any a topic that you guys want us to talk about, something that we should have said that we didn't, a movie you guys want us to review, you guys want to support us in a big way, Josh, let them know where they can let us know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. We post when new episodes are up. You can engage with us there. Listen to us on the go, Spotify and Apple Podcasts at FilmBros Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts, because we are on a couple more sites. Support us in a big way. Buzzsprout, links are in their bios. You can subscribe and get special perks and shout outs on our episodes. And when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
Light it up, man. It's just a Flash. Go watch The Flash.
Go watch it. They need the money. They need the money.
The new DCEU needs the money.
They need the money for the VFX.
Yeah,
For the VFX.
You don't want to see Batman throwing a tin can.
real quick. Where do we think all the money for the VFX went? Like, what was the big money shot that the VFX was like, yeah, that's what they used it on
I'm
for?
sure it was the Chrome Dome.
The Chrono Dome?
The Chrome Dome, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they could have found someone better on YouTube, you know?
Yeah. Somebody who could have did it a little bit better?
Yeah.
100%.
So the Corridor Crew.
Oh,
Yeah.
for the Lego scene in the Spider-Man movie. The episode, it was a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah, that's true. Damn. Don't start dissing the studio now. With that being said, guys, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.